There is no power but God. There is no presence but God. There is no supply but God's limitless, radiant abundance. I now enter the secret place of the Most High. I align myself with Divine Mind, the one source, the one power. All fear falls away from me now. For God is my instant, constant, and eternal supply. I breathe into this moment, knowing that every breath is a breath of divine life. I surrender all old beliefs in lack, limitation, struggle, or delay. I release them into the light, where they dissolve and disappear forever. Only truth remains, and the truth is abundance. Money is God's idea, and God's ideas are always good. Money is not separate from spirit. Money is spirit in action, a holy and perfect energy, moving through my life by divine right. As I touch money, as I think of money, as I receive money, I remember. This is God in substance form, flowing towards me with ease and joy. I now place myself in alignment with divine order. I declare that everything in my financial life is now arranged in perfect harmony. What seemed crooked is made straight. What seemed blocked is opened wide. What seemed delayed is now instantly supplied. I stand in the light of infinite supply. I breathe the atmosphere of wealth. I walk in the rhythm of divine prosperity. Every time I touch money, I bless it with the love of God. Every time money touches me, it blesses me with the gifts of spirit. I declare, I am one with the endless river of divine wealth. I am one with God's perfect flow. Nothing can be withheld from me, because nothing is withheld in divine mind. My heart opens. My hands open. My life opens. I am receptive, ready, and willing to receive God's lavish abundance. I give thanks that the infinite supply, which created the universe, moves through me now. Everything I need comes to me at the right time, in the right way, through the right channels by divine right order. I rest in the assurance of this truth. I lean upon the everlasting arms of spirit, and I am safe, supplied, supported, and sustained. I am centered. I am calm. I am aligned with infinite prosperity, and so it is. I now speak the word of divine supply, and it is established unto me. Money is God's idea, and God's ideas are perfect, pure, and unfailing. Therefore, every time I touch money, I bless it with the light of divine substance. Money is good. Money is God in action. Money is eternal circulation, forever flowing to me and through me in perfect balance. There is no fear in God. Therefore, there is no fear in money. I decree, all that is mine by divine right now comes to me with speed, with ease, and with grace. Money comes to me through channels expected and unexpected. Money comes to me under grace in perfect ways. Money is obedient to the law of abundance. Money is a faithful servant of the divine. I dissolve, disintegrate, and release any false belief in lack, limitation, or delay. These beliefs have no power, for God is the only power. Every blocked pathway is cleared. Every crooked place is made straight. Every closed door opens by divine appointment. I now affirm, my money is always increasing. My money is always circulating back to me multiplied. There is no loss in divine mind, therefore I cannot lose. Every dollar I touch is blessed and returns to me enriched. Every seed I sow brings a harvest. Every action I take prospers me. Money comes to me through divine ideas, divine opportunities, and divine direction. I am guided to the right work, the right people, the right places, and the right blessings. The divine supply within me is inexhaustible, unbreakable, and unfailing. I now declare, my wealth flows like a river. It never stops, it never slows. It is perpetual divine circulation. The divine plan for my finances is perfect, permanent, and powerful. I walk in faith, I speak in faith, and I receive in faith. The windows of heaven are open, and gifts pour forth. Everything I touch is prospered by the Spirit of God within me. I am rich in ideas. I am rich in opportunity. I am rich in supply. God is my unfailing source, and abundance is my divine birthright. And so it is, and so it always will be. I now stand in the light of divine abundance. I claim my good. I accept my good. I rejoice in my good. No person, place, or thing can keep me from the riches that are mine by divine right. What is mine comes to me with grace, speed, and perfect ease. I am a spiritual being, governed by spiritual law. Money is a spiritual idea, and it comes to me through spiritual channels. I do not labor for money. Money serves me because I serve God. I am aligned with the mind that created worlds. Therefore, supply is effortless. Every time I touch money, I bless it. I speak to it with authority. You are God in action. You are the symbol of divine substance, and you multiply wherever I send you. My money grows, expands, and circulates in perfect order. I now claim unexpected blessings. Unexpected income flows to me now. Unexpected opportunities appear now. Unexpected doors open now. Everything I touch prospers, for I am backed by the infinite. The gifts I give return to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I am guided to right opportunities, right connections, right timing, right direction. God's plan for me is success, freedom, and abundance, and I accept nothing less. Old beliefs fall away. Fear falls away. Limitation falls away. I walk in faith, and faith produces miracles for me daily. I am worthy of wealth. I am worthy of overflow. I am worthy of joy. I place my finances in the hands of the divine, and miracles unfold naturally. I am surrounded by perfect supply. I am anchored in perfect confidence. I am overflowing with perfect abundance. My prosperity is secure, inevitable, and unstoppable. What I decree now is established in the invisible and appears in the visible. I give thanks that it is already done, already completed, already manifested. And so it is. I now stand in the full light of divine abundance, and I give thanks that every word I have spoken is established in the invisible and now appears in the visible. I rejoice that God's perfect substance is already shaping itself into all that I require: money, opportunities, ideas, and divine right relationships. Everything I need comes to me in perfect ways. I give thanks that money is forever obedient to the divine pattern of my life. It comes in peace, it stays in peace, and it multiplies in peace. Money blesses me, and I bless money, for we are both expressions of God's infinite love. I decree now that the words I have spoken are planted in fertile divine soil. No force can oppose them. No fear can uproot them. No doubt can delay them. They grow, they expand, they flourish, and they return to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Every time I touch money, I touch divine substance. Every time I bless money, I bless God's increase. Every time I give money, I send it forth to return in greater measure. Every time I receive money, I receive proof of God's unfailing supply. I now seal these decrees in divine love. I now seal these affirmations in divine faith. I now seal this prayer in divine law, which never fails. I am grateful. I am peaceful. I am provided for. I am prospered now. By divine right and in perfect timing, it is done.
The subconscious mind is the fertile soil of every man and woman's destiny. What is planted there, in faith and in imagination, must surely come forth in due season. The spoken word, clothed in conviction, is a seed that never returns void. Just as a garden flourishes with the right seeds, so does the life of an individual flourish when words of prosperity, abundance, and success are sown into the deep silence of the night. As you prepare for rest, you are entering into the secret chamber where all power is renewed. The conscious mind, with its worries and reasonings, begins to withdraw, and the inner self becomes receptive, like a still and waiting field. It is here that suggestion becomes creation. It is here that wealth and money, called forth by the law of divine supply, take root and prepare to manifest in your waking hours. Every fortune begins with an idea, and every idea is born in the unseen. That unseen is not far from you. It is the very substance that surrounds and fills you. The air you breathe, the silence of the night, the invisible currents of energy, all are alive with the possibility of increase. When you sleep, you do not struggle. You do not resist. You are open. And in that openness, wealth can be impressed upon your being as a reality already secured. Money is not a distant prize, but a vibration, a stream, a current always moving and always seeking expression. Many believe it is scarce, but in truth, it is infinite, and it flows according to the channels we prepare for it. Words of truth prepare those channels. Faith enlarges them. Gratitude clears them. And as these words are spoken, they move past the conscious barriers and plant themselves in the subconscious, where they cannot be lost. To fall asleep while hearing words of prosperity is to let your last waking thought be one of abundance, rather than lack. It is to close your eyes not in fear of tomorrow, but in certainty that tomorrow already holds provision. The universe is abundant, and wealth is as natural as the rising of the sun. When the farmer plants a seed, he does not doubt the harvest. In the same way, when you rest with wealth declared over your life, you align yourself with the law that never fails. The law of supply meeting demand, of thought becoming thing. Every debt is dissolved in this awareness. Every fear of money fades before the truth that riches are not created by labor alone, but by consciousness. Money is drawn to the one who expects it, who welcomes it, who blesses it as it comes and as it goes. In your sleep, you will be taught to expect it, to welcome it, to see yourself as one already enriched. As these words enter the stillness of your rest, know that they are not idle. They are living forces, shaping unseen substance into visible form. You need not strive, you need not chase, simply receive. Wealth is already yours, and as you sleep, it gathers itself to meet you upon waking. The subconscious mind is the secret workshop of creation, the unseen force that shapes every visible condition of life. It does not argue, it does not question. It simply accepts what is impressed upon it with feeling and repetition. When you feed it with thoughts of wealth, words of prosperity, and images of abundance, it responds with absolute obedience, rearranging circumstances and drawing to you that which corresponds to the seed you have sown. It is as if the subconscious is a faithful servant who takes the command of the conscious mind and fulfills it without hesitation. Yet many people misuse this power by impressing fear, doubt, and limitation upon it, and then they wonder why their lives seem to reflect struggle rather than success. To understand this law is to hold the key to transformation. When the conscious mind speaks in alignment with truth, when it declares wealth as present and money as plentiful, the subconscious accepts it as reality. It does not distinguish between truth or falsehood, between present possession or future hope. It simply takes the word as law and sets about making it manifest. This is why the spoken word, repeated as you drift into sleep, is so powerful. At that hour, the gatekeeper of the conscious mind grows quiet, and suggestion slips easily into the fertile soil of the subconscious. Just as a farmer places a seed in the ground, unseen and unobserved, so does the affirmation of wealth take root in the depths of being, ready to push through into visible form. The subconscious mind is unlimited in its resourcefulness. It knows where opportunities lie, it perceives connections you cannot consciously see, and it influences people and events in ways beyond ordinary understanding. Many call this coincidence or luck. Yet it is nothing more than the perfect orchestration of a subconscious that has been instructed to bring wealth into your experience. If poverty has appeared, it is only because the subconscious has been trained by words of lack, beliefs in scarcity, and feelings of fear. Change the seed, and the harvest must change. When wealth is spoken into it, when prosperity is declared as your rightful inheritance, the subconscious reorganizes everything to match that decree. Consider how automatic the subconscious is in directing the body. Without conscious effort, the heart beats, the lungs expand, the blood circulates. In the same way, when wealth is impressed upon it, the subconscious automatically directs actions, attracts ideas, and opens pathways without your deliberate planning. You may find yourself meeting the right person at the right time, discovering an opportunity unexpectedly, or being guided toward an idea that brings financial increase. These are not accidents but the faithful execution of commands planted in the inner mind. The great truth is that the subconscious cannot be left empty. It will always be at work, drawing experiences to you. If you do not feed it with wealth, it will simply echo the beliefs you have absorbed from the world. Beliefs in limitation, in struggle, in shortage. That is why it is essential to guard the words you speak, the images you hold, and especially the last thoughts before sleep. For in those quiet moments, the subconscious takes instruction, and throughout the night it labors to bring it forth. If you give it the word of prosperity, it works with precision to manifest prosperity. If you give it the word of lack, it manifests lack with the same fidelity. It does not choose, it obeys. The subconscious mind, when filled with wealth consciousness, becomes a magnet to money. Just as a magnet draws metal without effort, so does a mind rich in prosperity draw money and opportunity without struggle. This attraction is not based on toil or strain, but on vibration. Wealth is a vibration, money is a vibration, and when your inner mind accepts wealth as real, it radiates a frequency that calls forth the matching form. You cannot see the magnetic force, yet it works without fail. The subconscious, impressed with wealth, broadcasts that vibration continually, attracting circumstances that harmonize with it. It is also important to understand that the subconscious works only in the present. It does not operate with someday or tomorrow. It acts now. If you affirm that wealth will come, the subconscious hears only delay and postponement. But if you affirm that wealth is here, that abundance is present now, the subconscious accepts that as the current state and begins at once to make it visible. This is why words such as, "I am wealthy," "I have abundance," "money flows to me freely," are powerful. They declare the reality as already complete. The subconscious does not wait, it begins creating in this very moment. Impressing wealth on the subconscious requires more than idle repetition. It requires feeling. The words must be clothed with belief, with the emotion of certainty, with the vibration of gratitude. When you feel the truth of your words, the subconscious absorbs them deeply, for emotion is the language it understands best. Words without feeling are like seeds scattered on stone. They do not take root. But words spoken with conviction and felt as reality sink into the fertile soil and bring forth a harvest. To imagine yourself already in possession of money, to feel the joy of financial freedom, to rest in the certainty that provision is secured. This is how wealth becomes impressed upon the inner mind. Night after night, as you repeat the truth of abundance before sleep, you are steadily reshaping the patterns of your subconscious. Old beliefs of struggle begin to dissolve, and new beliefs of prosperity grow strong. It may not be visible immediately, but the process is as certain as the law of growth. The subconscious never fails to bring forth what is planted in it. Just as the farmer does not dig up the seed each morning to see if it has sprouted, so must you trust the unseen work of the subconscious. It is bringing forth wealth in its perfect time, in perfect ways, and in perfect measure. When you align your conscious word with the truth of wealth and impress it upon the subconscious, you are working with the most powerful force available to you. The outer world is but a reflection of the inner. Change the subconscious pattern, and the outer circumstances cannot resist changing. Every bill, every bank account, every opportunity begins to shift to match the new image of wealth you have planted within. This is the law, unfailing and exact. The subconscious is the servant of your word, and when that word is prosperity, it must deliver prosperity. Prosperity is not a rare event, not a prize for the fortunate few, not something to be wrestled from the hands of fate. Prosperity is a natural law, as natural as the rising of the sun, the flowing of rivers, the unfolding of a flower. The universe is rich beyond measure, filled with endless supply. And the same intelligence that created the stars, the seas, and the soil also created provision for every need of man. There is no lack in the divine order, only abundance seeking expression. To see prosperity as struggle is to misunderstand its very nature. The bird does not toil for its song, the tree does not strive for its blossoms, and the sun does not strain to shine. All act in harmony with the law of their being, and their supply flows without resistance. Prosperity for mankind is the same. Governed by the law of infinite supply, ready to unfold without struggle when the mind aligns with it. Many have been taught to believe that money is scarce, that wealth is hard won, that only through sweat and endless effort can one be provided for. This belief has been sound by generations who looked only at appearances and not at principle. Appearances may show poverty, but principle reveals abundance. Look at the earth and you will see evidence of it everywhere. The grains of sand upon the shore are without number. The stars in the night sky cannot be counted. The leaves on the trees renew themselves season after season without depletion. Creation is overflowing, generous, extravagant in its supply. That same extravagance is the truth of prosperity in human affairs. Wealth is not earned by struggle but claimed by alignment with the law that never fails. When one begins to recognize prosperity as law, fear begins to dissolve. Fear comes from the belief that there is not enough, that supply is uncertain, that one must compete or fight for limited resources. But in truth, there is no competition in divine law. What belongs to you cannot be taken, and what belongs to another cannot be claimed by you. Each person draws from the infinite storehouse according to their own consciousness, and no man's prosperity diminishes another's. The ocean does not run dry when one drinks a cup of water. The sky is not diminished when one candle is lit. So it is with money, wealth, and abundance. To believe otherwise is to hold a false idea, and that false idea creates struggle where none is required. Prosperity flows where it is welcomed, and it withdraws where it is resisted. Resistance comes through doubt, fear, and the belief that wealth is unnatural or undeserved. Yet the law is impartial. Just as gravity does not care who uses it, prosperity does not care who aligns with it. It simply flows according to belief. If one believes in scarcity, scarcity appears. If one believes in abundance, abundance appears. The law works with precision, without error, without favoritism. Prosperity is therefore not a gamble, not a chance occurrence, but the guaranteed result of aligning thought, word, and expectation with the truth of infinite supply. Struggle is born from separation. The belief that man is cut off from his source, left to earn, grasp, and scrape in order to survive. But man is never separated from source, any more than a ray of sunlight is separated from the sun. The current of prosperity flows ceaselessly, and to step into it requires only awareness and acceptance. When you accept that prosperity is natural, you cease struggling, and when you cease struggling, you allow the law to work unhindered. Strain and worry clog the channels through which abundance flows, but calm expectation opens them wide. To rest in the truth that prosperity is as natural as breath is to live without fear of tomorrow, for tomorrow must carry its own provision. Look at the lilies of the field. They do not labor, yet they are clothed in splendor. Look at the sparrows. They do not store in barns, yet they are fed. These are not idle sayings but demonstrations of the law in action. Nature is filled with proof that prosperity is not a struggle, but a constant, generous provision for all creation. Man, too, is part of this creation, not apart from it, and when he remembers this truth, his life begins to reflect the same effortless supply. Money is drawn in the same way the bee is drawn to the blossom. Naturally, without force, simply by being in alignment with its nature. Prosperity is a state of consciousness, not a bank balance. A person with wealth, consciousness can draw money easily, while one with poverty, consciousness may lose money no matter how much comes. To hold the idea of prosperity as natural is to shift the inner state, and when the inner state shifts, the outer world must follow. This is why affirmations, visualizations, and spoken words are so vital. They train the inner mind to accept prosperity as law. As the subconscious accepts this, actions, opportunities, and circumstances adjust accordingly. What once seemed impossible begins to unfold without effort, because the law is always working, and you have simply aligned yourself with it. Effort has its place, but effort alone is not the source of wealth. Many labor endlessly and remain in want, while others move with ease and draw riches. The difference lies in consciousness. To labor with the belief in scarcity is to struggle for little return. But to labor with the belief in prosperity is to see even small actions multiplied. Prosperity is not earned in sweat but revealed through alignment. Work can be a channel, but it is never the source. The source is infinite and unseen, and it supplies through countless avenues. When you know prosperity is natural, you release the tight grasp on one channel, and you open yourself to receive from many. The subconscious mind is the fertile soil of every man and woman's destiny. What is planted there, in faith and in imagination, must surely come forth in due season. The spoken word, clothed in conviction, is a seed that never returns void. Just as a garden flourishes with the right seeds, so does the life of an individual flourish when words of prosperity, abundance, and success are sown into the deep silence of the night. As you prepare for rest, you are entering into the secret chamber where all power is renewed. The conscious mind, with its worries and reasonings, begins to withdraw, and the inner self becomes receptive, like a still and waiting field. It is here that suggestion becomes creation. It is here that wealth and money, called forth by the law of divine supply, take root and prepare to manifest in your waking hours. Every fortune begins with an idea, and every idea is born in the unseen. That unseen is not far from you. It is the very substance that surrounds and fills you. The air you breathe, the silence of the night, the invisible currents of energy, all are alive with the possibility of increase. When you sleep, you do not struggle. You do not resist. You are open. And in that openness, wealth can be impressed upon your being as a reality already secured. Money is not a distant prize, but a vibration, a stream, a current always moving and always seeking expression. Many believe it is scarce, but in truth, it is infinite, and it flows according to the channels we prepare for it. Words of truth prepare those channels. Faith enlarges them. Gratitude clears them. And as these words are spoken, they move past the conscious barriers and plant themselves in the subconscious, where they cannot be lost. To fall asleep while hearing words of prosperity is to let your last waking thought be one of abundance, rather than lack. It is to close your eyes not in fear of tomorrow, but in certainty that tomorrow already holds provision. The universe is abundant, and wealth is as natural as the rising of the sun. When the farmer plants a seed, he does not doubt the harvest. In the same way, when you rest with wealth declared over your life, you align yourself with the law that never fails. The law of supply meeting demand, of thought becoming thing. Every debt is dissolved in this awareness. Every fear of money fades before the truth that riches are not created by labor alone, but by consciousness. Money is drawn to the one who expects it, who welcomes it, who blesses it as it comes and as it goes. In your sleep, you will be taught to expect it, to welcome it, to see yourself as one already enriched. As these words enter the stillness of your rest, know that they are not idle. They are living forces, shaping unseen substance into visible form. You need not strive, you need not chase, simply receive. Wealth is already yours, and as you sleep, it gathers itself to meet you upon waking. The subconscious mind is the secret workshop of creation, the unseen force that shapes every visible condition of life. It does not argue, it does not question. It simply accepts what is impressed upon it with feeling and repetition. When you feed it with thoughts of wealth, words of prosperity, and images of abundance, it responds with absolute obedience, rearranging circumstances and drawing to you that which corresponds to the seed you have sown. It is as if the subconscious is a faithful servant who takes the command of the conscious mind and fulfills it without hesitation. Yet many people misuse this power by impressing fear, doubt, and limitation upon it, and then they wonder why their lives seem to reflect struggle rather than success. To understand this law is to hold the key to transformation. When the conscious mind speaks in alignment with truth, when it declares wealth as present and money as plentiful, the subconscious accepts it as reality. It does not distinguish between truth or falsehood, between present possession or future hope. It simply takes the word as law and sets about making it manifest. This is why the spoken word, repeated as you drift into sleep, is so powerful. At that hour, the gatekeeper of the conscious mind grows quiet, and suggestion slips easily into the fertile soil of the subconscious. Just as a farmer places a seed in the ground, unseen and unobserved, so does the affirmation of wealth take root in the depths of being, ready to push through into visible form. The subconscious mind is unlimited in its resourcefulness. It knows where opportunities lie, it perceives connections you cannot consciously see, and it influences people and events in ways beyond ordinary understanding. Many call this coincidence or luck. Yet it is nothing more than the perfect orchestration of a subconscious that has been instructed to bring wealth into your experience. If poverty has appeared, it is only because the subconscious has been trained by words of lack, beliefs in scarcity, and feelings of fear. Change the seed, and the harvest must change. When wealth is spoken into it, when prosperity is declared as your rightful inheritance, the subconscious reorganizes everything to match that decree. Consider how automatic the subconscious is in directing the body. Without conscious effort, the heart beats, the lungs expand, the blood circulates. In the same way, when wealth is impressed upon it, the subconscious automatically directs actions, attracts ideas, and opens pathways without your deliberate planning. You may find yourself meeting the right person at the right time, discovering an opportunity unexpectedly, or being guided toward an idea that brings financial increase. These are not accidents but the faithful execution of commands planted in the inner mind. The great truth is that the subconscious cannot be left empty. It will always be at work, drawing experiences to you. If you do not feed it with wealth, it will simply echo the beliefs you have absorbed from the world, beliefs in limitation, in struggle, in shortage. That is why it is essential to guard the words you speak, the images you hold, and especially the last thoughts before sleep. For in those quiet moments, the subconscious takes instruction, and throughout the night it labors to bring it forth. If you give it the word of prosperity, it works with precision to manifest prosperity. If you give it the word of lack, it manifests lack with the same fidelity. It does not choose, it obeys. The subconscious mind, when filled with wealth consciousness, becomes a magnet to money. Just as a magnet draws metal without effort, so does a mind rich in prosperity draw money and opportunity without struggle. This attraction is not based on toil or strain, but on vibration. Wealth is a vibration, money is a vibration, and when your inner mind accepts wealth as real, it radiates a frequency that calls forth the matching form. You cannot see the magnetic force, yet it works without fail. The subconscious, impressed with wealth, broadcasts that vibration continually, attracting circumstances that harmonize with it. It is also important to understand that the subconscious works only in the present. It does not operate with someday or tomorrow. It acts now. If you affirm that wealth will come, the subconscious hears only delay and postponement. But if you affirm that wealth is here, that abundance is present now, the subconscious accepts that as the current state and begins at once to make it visible. This is why words such as, "I am wealthy," "I have abundance," "money flows to me freely," are powerful. They declare the reality as already complete. The subconscious does not wait, it begins creating in this very moment. Impressing wealth on the subconscious requires more than idle repetition. It requires feeling. The words must be clothed with belief, with the emotion of certainty, with the vibration of gratitude. When you feel the truth of your words, the subconscious absorbs them deeply, for emotion is the language it understands best. Words without feeling are like seeds scattered on stone. They do not take root. But words spoken with conviction and felt as reality sink into the fertile soil and bring forth a harvest. To imagine yourself already in possession of money, to feel the joy of financial freedom, to rest in the certainty that provision is secured. This is how wealth becomes impressed upon the inner mind. Night after night, as you repeat the truth of abundance before sleep, you are steadily reshaping the patterns of your subconscious. Old beliefs of struggle begin to dissolve, and new beliefs of prosperity grow strong. It may not be visible immediately, but the process is as certain as the law of growth. The subconscious never fails to bring forth what is planted in it. Just as the farmer does not dig up the seed each morning to see if it has sprouted, so must you trust the unseen work of the subconscious. It is bringing forth wealth in its perfect time, in perfect ways, and in perfect measure. When you align your conscious word with the truth of wealth and impress it upon the subconscious, you are working with the most powerful force available to you. The outer world is but a reflection of the inner. Change the subconscious pattern, and the outer circumstances cannot resist changing. Every bill, every bank account, every opportunity begins to shift to match the new image of wealth you have planted within. This is the law, unfailing and exact. The subconscious is the servant of your word, and when that word is prosperity, it must deliver prosperity. Prosperity is not a rare event, not a prize for the fortunate few, not something to be wrestled from the hands of fate. Prosperity is a natural law, as natural as the rising of the sun, the flowing of rivers, the unfolding of a flower. The universe is rich beyond measure, filled with endless supply. And the same intelligence that created the stars, the seas, and the soil also created provision for every need of man. There is no lack in the divine order, only abundance seeking expression. To see prosperity as struggle is to misunderstand its very nature. The bird does not toil for its song, the tree does not strive for its blossoms, and the sun does not strain to shine. All act in harmony with the law of their being, and their supply flows without resistance. Prosperity for mankind is the same. Governed by the law of infinite supply, ready to unfold without struggle when the mind aligns with it. Many have been taught to believe that money is scarce, that wealth is hard-won, that only through sweat and endless effort can one be provided for. This belief has been sound by generations who looked only at appearances and not at principle. Appearances may show poverty, but principle reveals abundance. Look at the earth and you will see evidence of it everywhere. The grains of sand upon the shore are without number. The stars in the night sky cannot be counted. The leaves on the trees renew themselves season after season without depletion. Creation is overflowing, generous, extravagant in its supply. That same extravagance is the truth of prosperity in human affairs. Wealth is not earned by struggle but claimed by alignment with the law that never fails. When one begins to recognize prosperity as law, fear begins to dissolve. Fear comes from the belief that there is not enough, that supply is uncertain, that one must compete or fight for limited resources. But in truth, there is no competition in divine law. What belongs to you cannot be taken, and what belongs to another cannot be claimed by you. Each person draws from the infinite storehouse according to their own consciousness, and no man's prosperity diminishes another's. The ocean does not run dry when one drinks a cup of water. The sky is not diminished when one candle is lit. So it is with money, wealth, and abundance. To believe otherwise is to hold a false idea, and that false idea creates struggle where none is required. Prosperity flows where it is welcomed, and it withdraws where it is resisted. Resistance comes through doubt, fear, and the belief that wealth is unnatural or undeserved. Yet the law is impartial. Just as gravity does not care who uses it, prosperity does not care who aligns with it. It simply flows according to belief. If one believes in scarcity, scarcity appears. If one believes in abundance, abundance appears. The law works with precision, without error, without favoritism. Prosperity is therefore not a gamble, not a chance occurrence, but the guaranteed result of aligning thought, word, and expectation with the truth of infinite supply. Struggle is born from separation. The belief that man is cut off from his source, left to earn, grasp, and scrape in order to survive. But man is never separated from source, any more than a ray of sunlight is separated from the sun. The current of prosperity flows ceaselessly, and to step into it requires only awareness and acceptance. When you accept that prosperity is natural, you cease struggling, and when you cease struggling, you allow the law to work unhindered. Strain and worry clog the channels through which abundance flows, but calm expectation opens them wide. To rest in the truth that prosperity is as natural as breath is to live without fear of tomorrow, for tomorrow must carry its own provision. Look at the lilies of the field. They do not labor, yet they are clothed in splendor. Look at the sparrows. They do not store in barns, yet they are fed. These are not idle sayings but demonstrations of the law in action. Nature is filled with proof that prosperity is not a struggle, but a constant, generous provision for all creation. Man, too, is part of this creation, not apart from it, and when he remembers this truth, his life begins to reflect the same effortless supply. Money is drawn in the same way the bee is drawn to the blossom. Naturally, without force, simply by being in alignment with its nature. Prosperity is a state of consciousness, not a bank balance. A person with wealth, consciousness can draw money easily, while one with poverty, consciousness may lose money no matter how much comes. To hold the idea of prosperity as natural is to shift the inner state, and when the inner state shifts, the outer world must follow. This is why affirmations, visualizations, and spoken words are so vital. They train the inner mind to accept prosperity as law. As the subconscious accepts this, actions, opportunities, and circumstances adjust accordingly. What once seemed impossible begins to unfold without effort, because the law is always working, and you have simply aligned yourself with it. Effort has its place, but effort alone is not the source of wealth. Many labor endlessly and remain in want, while others move with ease and draw riches. The difference lies in consciousness. To labor with the belief in scarcity is to struggle for little return. But to labor with the belief in prosperity is to see even small actions multiplied. Prosperity is not earned in sweat but revealed through alignment. Work can be a channel, but it is never the source. The source is infinite and unseen, and it supplies through countless avenues. When you know prosperity is natural, you release the tight grasp on one channel, and you open yourself to receive from many. Consider the child who trusts without question that his needs will be met. He does not worry about supply, yet his needs are provided for. Prosperity works in much the same way. To enter into the childlike faith that abundance is natural is to release the strain of doubt. Prosperity then flows in quietly, steadily, without effort, for it has always been present, awaiting only your recognition. The struggle vanishes not because circumstances change first, but because the inner belief shifts first, and the outer must follow. When prosperity is seen as natural, you no longer plead for it, you no longer chase after it, you no longer fear its absence. You rest in the certainty that the law is unfailing. You declare wealth as present, and it appears. You give thanks for abundance, and more comes. You expect money to flow, and it flows. Not by struggle, but by the quiet operation of a law as certain as gravity, as precise as mathematics, as constant as the seasons. This is prosperity as it truly is, never a battle to win, but a law to accept, a truth to embody, and a natural flow that needs no strain. Words are living forces, and every word spoken with belief is a seed sown into the unseen field of consciousness. Just as the farmer casts seed into the soil and trusts the law of growth to do its perfect work, so do the words spoken in faith create channels through which money flows into life. These channels are not forced into existence by struggle, but are shaped naturally by the power of the spoken word. Every declaration of prosperity, every affirmation of wealth, every utterance of abundance is a blueprint given to the subconscious mind and to the unseen forces of supply. The words themselves are not empty sounds. They are commands, decrees, instructions that shape substance and set in motion the law of increase. When one says with conviction that money flows freely and easily, the very vibration of that word prepares a pathway. It directs attention to opportunities, opens the mind to receive ideas, and influences unseen conditions to bring about corresponding results. Words spoken in faith are not mere wishes or idle repetitions, they are creative forces that cannot return void. The subconscious accepts them as fact, and the universe responds by arranging circumstances to fulfill them. Just as a river carves its channel and water flows without effort, words carve out mental and spiritual channels through which wealth may pour. The greater the faith, the wider the channel, and the more abundant the flow. Many people unknowingly speak against their own prosperity by declaring lack, limitation, and hardship. Words of fear build channels of obstruction. Words of doubt construct barriers that block the flow of supply. When a person says, "I never have enough," The subconscious accepts this as instruction and faithfully creates conditions that match it. When one declares, "Money is scarce," the channel narrows and money struggles to enter. Yet the moment words of truth are spoken, words such as "I am rich in every good way," "Wealth flows constantly into my life," "Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways," a new channel is created, and the law of supply moves swiftly to fill it. It is not the effort behind the words, but the belief they carry that shapes reality. A single word spoken with deep conviction can outweigh 100 spoken without faith. The subconscious does not respond to empty speech, but to the emotional charge and certainty with which words are expressed. This is why it is essential not only to say words of prosperity, but to feel their truth as they are spoken. To say, "I am prosperous," with the vibration of gratitude and certainty, is to engrave that truth upon the subconscious and to establish a strong and clear channel for money to flow. The spoken word is a bridge between the seen and the unseen. It takes the invisible idea of prosperity and gives it shape, form, and energy in the realm of thought, where it can then manifest in the physical. Every word is a decree, whether for abundance or for lack. When the words are aligned with truth, with the law of infinite supply, they open channels for wealth to flow unhindered. When words contradict truth and affirm poverty, they shut down the flow and create blockages. The choice of words is the choice of channels, and the channels chosen will determine the flow experienced. Money itself is not the source of prosperity. It is only one form through which prosperity flows. The source is the infinite, the unseen, the inexhaustible supply of the universe. Words are the tools that shape the pathways through which this supply can reach you in tangible form. To continually speak words of prosperity is to continually widen and strengthen these pathways. To cease speaking them is to allow them to shrink and grow over with the weeds of doubt and fear. Constant use of the spoken word in alignment with prosperity keeps the channels open, fresh, and flowing. Faith gives life to the words. Without faith, words are lifeless and produce little. With faith, words are living seeds that must grow. The farmer does not doubt whether his seed will sprout. He plants and expects the harvest. In the same way, when words of wealth are spoken in faith, they must manifest in some form, for the law cannot be broken. The timing and the manner may differ from expectation, but the result is always the same. The word spoken in truth brings forth after its kind. Words of increase bring increase, words of abundance bring abundance, words of money bring money. Every spoken word sets a vibration into motion, and vibrations draw to themselves that which harmonizes with them. To declare, "I am open to receive money now," is to release a vibration that calls forth opportunities, ideas, and connections that align with receiving. To declare, "I cannot afford this," is to release a vibration that attracts more conditions of lack. The subconscious does not filter these statements, it simply obeys. The universe does not judge these vibrations, it simply responds. Thus, the wise choice of words becomes the wise choice of experience. Words of prosperity create expectancy, and expectancy is the magnet that draws supply. When you continually affirm wealth, your mind begins to anticipate it, your eyes begin to notice it, your actions begin to align with it, and your environment begins to reflect it. The expectancy itself becomes a wide channel, and money flows into it with ease. Words repeated day by day, night after night, shape the deep patterns of the subconscious until prosperity becomes the natural state of mind, and money flows as naturally as water through an open stream. The channel created by words is not limited to one avenue. When you speak in faith that money flows to you freely, you open yourself to countless sources. It may come through your work, through unexpected gifts, through opportunities, through ideas, through investments, through avenues unseen and unimaginable to the conscious mind. The words do not dictate how. It is the work of the law to provide the way. Your task is only to speak the truth with conviction, to keep the channels open, and to refuse to speak words that close them. Every word spoken in faith is a declaration of sovereignty, a claim upon the riches of the universe. The moment you declare, Money comes to me easily. You have set in motion a current of energy that must return to you as experience. The more often this is spoken with faith, the stronger the current becomes, and the more naturally money finds its way into your life. Words are never wasted, everyone produces after its kind. The wise use of words, therefore, is the wise use of prosperity. The careless use of words is the careless scattering of poverty. To fill the day with affirmations of wealth, to speak abundance in the morning, throughout the day and before sleep, is to continually carve and widen the channels of supply. Each repetition deepens the pattern, strengthens the vibration, and secures the flow. Over time, the subconscious becomes so thoroughly impressed with wealth that it cannot conceive of lack, and in this state money must continually flow. This is the power of words spoken in faith. They do not merely describe reality, they create it, and they create it in exact proportion to the belief behind them. Gratitude and expectation are the two wings upon which abundance rises, the twin forces that open the heart and mind to receive wealth in its fullest measure. Gratitude is the acknowledgement that supply already exists, that provision is present, that the universe has already answered every need. Expectation is the confident anticipation that more is always on the way, that the flow of prosperity is unending, that tomorrow holds as much provision as today. When these two powers are joined together, they create a vibration so magnetic that wealth cannot resist it. Gratitude secures the present, expectation secures the future, and together they open an endless channel of abundance. To practice gratitude is to recognize prosperity even in its smallest forms. The one who gives thanks for the dollar in his hand prepares the way for 10. The one who appreciates the meal before him prepares the way for a feast. Gratitude multiplies what it touches, for it is a signal to the subconscious and to the universe that you recognize and welcome the flow of supply. A grateful mind does not fix itself on what is missing, it sees what is present, and by seeing it, it increases it. Lack cannot remain in the presence of sincere gratitude, for gratitude continually affirms that supply is here, and what is affirmed grows. Expectation is the forward gaze of faith. It is the inner knowing that the stream of supply never runs dry, that every day brings new channels for money, that every opportunity is a doorway to more. Expectation is not wishful thinking, it is certainty clothed in anticipation. When you expect wealth, you behave as though it is already coming. You move with confidence, you make decisions without fear, you take actions that align with prosperity. This expectancy draws wealth with irresistible force, for the universe always responds to the vibration of belief. Where expectation is absent, doors may open and remain unseen. Where expectation is present, doors open and are eagerly walked through. Gratitude turns the mind toward abundance, and expectation keeps it there. A grateful person cannot dwell on lack, for his attention is filled with the evidence of supply. An expectant person cannot dwell on fear, for his heart is lifted by the certainty of more to come. These two states of mind dissolve worry, remove doubt, and silence the voice of limitation. Together, they form a continual affirmation: I am supplied, and I will always be supplied. This affirmation, spoken not only in words but in feeling, becomes the foundation of a prosperous life. Money is drawn to the atmosphere of gratitude and expectation. Just as a flower turns to the sun, wealth turns toward those who appreciate and anticipate it. Gratitude says to money, you are welcome here. Expectation says to money, I know you are always arriving. When these two are present, the flow cannot be hindered. Without them, even great riches may slip away. For the subconscious mind left untrained in gratitude and expectation will find ways to sabotage and repel wealth. Prosperity is not sustained by chance. It is sustained by the inner climate of thought and feeling, and gratitude with expectation create the richest climate of all. The practice of gratitude shifts the focus from what is missing to what is present, and the practice of expectation shifts the focus from fear of tomorrow to faith in tomorrow. Together, they keep the consciousness steady and open. Gratitude anchors the mind in the truth that abundance is here now. Expectation lifts the vision to the truth that abundance is always unfolding. Without gratitude, one may receive and fail to notice, and what is unacknowledged withers. Without expectation, one may give thanks for today but fear for tomorrow, and fear chokes the flow of supply. But with both, the flow is constant, secure, and ever increasing. Every expression of gratitude is a signal sent to the subconscious that prosperity is the reality, not lack. When this signal is repeated often, the subconscious arranges outer conditions to match it, bringing more and more evidence of wealth. Every act of expectation is a command that the unseen bring forth visible provision. The subconscious obeys this as well, guiding thoughts, actions, and circumstances toward financial increase. Gratitude and expectation are therefore not idle emotions. They are practical forces that move unseen substance into form. They are tools as exact and powerful as any law of nature, and when used together they guarantee abundance. Consider how a child receives with gratitude and expects without question. When given a gift, the child's delight multiplies the joy of the giver, and the child naturally anticipates more gifts to come. The child does not question whether provision will appear, he expects it as part of life. This childlike attitude is the essence of prosperity consciousness. To delight in what you already have is to multiply it, and to expect without doubt is to ensure its continual appearance. The adult mind, burdened with worry and disbelief, often forgets this truth, but the law has never changed. Gratitude and expectation still draw supply as effortlessly as they did in childhood. The atmosphere of gratitude and expectation not only attracts wealth, but also keeps it circulating freely. Money that is received with gratitude and spent with expectation always returns multiplied. To thank the universe for every dollar, and to release every dollar with the certainty that more will replace it is to live in perfect harmony with the law of circulation. Money flows where it is appreciated and multiplies where it is trusted. Fearful hoarding blocks the flow, careless spending ignores it, but grateful receiving and confident expecting enlarge it continually. Every morning is an opportunity to practice gratitude for the wealth already present, and expectation for the wealth on its way. Every night is an opportunity to reflect on the supply that has come and to anticipate more tomorrow. This daily practice shapes the subconscious into a permanent state of prosperity consciousness. Over time, the attitude of gratitude and expectation becomes so natural that lack cannot enter the mind, and when lack cannot enter the mind, it cannot appear in life. The inner state and the outer world always correspond, and when the inner state is one of gratitude and expectation, the outer world must mirror it with abundance. Gratitude softens the heart and expectation strengthens the will. Gratitude humbles, reminding you that supply is not of your making but of the infinite source. Expectation empowers, reminding you that you are an heir to that source and entitled to its riches. Gratitude keeps you open, expectation keeps you moving forward. Gratitude sees wealth in what already is, expectation sees wealth in what is to come. To live in both is to live in the continual flow of prosperity, where every need is met, every desire fulfilled, every fear dissolved. When gratitude and expectation become your constant companions, life takes on a rhythm of abundance. Opportunities appear naturally, money arrives in perfect timing, resources show up when needed. And you move through each day with the quiet assurance that supply is both present and forthcoming. This rhythm is not the product of chance but of alignment with the law. The law responds unfailingly to the vibration of gratitude and expectation, for together they declare the truth: abundance is now, and abundance is always. Wealth exists first in the unseen before it becomes visible, and it is always present, waiting only for recognition. The substance of prosperity surrounds every person at every moment, just as the air surrounds the body. It cannot be exhausted, it cannot be diminished, and it cannot be withheld. What keeps wealth from appearing is not its absence, but the failure to recognize and accept it. Just as the radio waves that fill the atmosphere are unheard until one tunes the receiver, so the riches of the universe remain unseen until one tunes the mind to the frequency of abundance. Recognition is the act of tuning in, the conscious decision to align with the truth that wealth already is. The unseen is the realm of cause, while the seen is the realm of effect. Every fortune, every flow of money, every opportunity originates in the unseen. The mind that holds the image of wealth, the heart that feels the joy of abundance, the word that declares prosperity. These are the seeds planted in the invisible soil of substance. In time, they must sprout into visible form, for the unseen is always pressing into visibility. Nothing can remain unexpressed when the channel is prepared. Recognition prepares the channel, and the moment you recognize wealth as already yours in the unseen, you begin to draw it into the seen. Most people look only to appearances, and when appearances show lack, they declare lack as their reality. But appearances are temporary shadows, while the unseen is eternal substance. To build belief upon appearances is to build upon sand, unstable and shifting. To build belief upon unseen truth is to build upon rock, unshakable and sure. The unseen wealth is more real than the balance in a bank account. For the account may change, but the substance of supply remains infinite. When you turn your attention from appearances of lack to the unseen presence of abundance, you shift the foundation of your life, and money begins to appear in ways you could not predict. Recognition is not passive observation but active faith. To recognize wealth is to declare it with certainty, to act as though it is present, to live in the vibration of possession before the outer proof arrives. The farmer recognizes the harvest the moment he plants the seed, though the field still looks bare. He acts in accordance with that recognition, watering, tending, and protecting the seed until it manifests. In the same way, recognition of wealth is the planting of inner certainty. You may not see the money yet, but you declare, "It is already mine in substance," and you act with confidence. This confidence itself is the magnet that draws the substance into form. The unseen wealth takes countless forms before it becomes money in hand. It may appear as an idea, an inspiration, a connection, a new path. To the one who does not recognize abundance, these may be overlooked. To the one who recognizes, every idea is a seed of fortune. Every encounter is a door, every circumstance is a channel. Recognition sharpens the vision so that you see opportunities where others see nothing. Recognition keeps the heart open so that you receive with gratitude what others might dismiss. Recognition ensures that no good is missed, for it is a continual affirmation, "All that belongs to me comes to me now." Wealth in the unseen does not need to be created, for it already exists in fullness. It is not withheld by the universe, for the universe knows only generosity. The only barrier is unawareness. When you recognize abundance, you remove the barrier. Just as light fills a room the moment the shade is lifted, wealth flows into life the moment recognition is given. Recognition is the lifting of the shade of doubt, fear, and disbelief. It is the opening of the eyes to what has always been present. The substance of supply is infinite, and recognition allows it to pour into every area of life. Recognition is strengthened by imagination, for imagination allows you to see the unseen with clarity. When you imagine yourself surrounded by wealth, when you picture the life of abundance, when you feel the reality of financial freedom, you are not creating fantasy but recognizing truth. The unseen responds to imagination, for imagination is the language of the subconscious and the signal to the universe. Every vivid image of prosperity is an act of recognition, and the more often it is repeated, the stronger the channel becomes. Imagination aligned with recognition transforms invisible substance into visible supply. Gratitude also deepens recognition. To give thanks for money before it appears is to affirm that it already exists. To thank the universe for wealth unseen is to acknowledge that it is certain and present, even if not yet visible. Gratitude keeps the eyes fixed on substance rather than on appearance. It says, "I know it is here, and I rejoice in it now." This joyful recognition calls forth the manifestation more swiftly, for it leaves no room for doubt. Gratitude is the proof of recognition, and recognition without gratitude is incomplete. Together, they form the perfect state for abundance to flow. Expectation naturally follows recognition. When you recognize that wealth exists in the unseen, you expect its appearance in the seen. Expectation is not hope, which doubts, but certainty, which knows. Recognition says, "It is already mine." Expectation says, "It is coming into form." The two are inseparable. To recognize without expectation is to plant and never water. To expect without recognition is to wait without seed. But when recognition and expectation are joined, the harvest must come. The unseen is already rich with supply, and recognition is the act that claims it. When you live in recognition of unseen wealth, fear of lack disappears. You no longer see money as something fragile or scarce, for you know its source is infinite and invisible. You no longer cling desperately to what you have, for you know more is always present in substance, ready to appear. This freedom dissolves the chains of worry and replaces them with confidence. Confidence itself becomes a magnet to wealth, for it signals the subconscious and the universe that you are aligned with the law of supply. Wealth cannot help but respond, for it is already waiting in the unseen, eager to take form. Recognition transforms every moment into opportunity. Where others complain of shortage, you declare abundance. Where others see closed doors, you see hidden pathways. Where others despair, you expect provision. This difference of vision is the difference between poverty and prosperity, for life always mirrors belief. Recognition is belief in action. It does not demand, it does not beg, it does not strive, it simply knows. And in knowing, it makes visible that which has been invisible all along. Wealth in the unseen is constant, unchanging, ever present. Recognition is the key that unlocks it and calls it forth into the light of day.
Beloved, you are not waiting for proof that divine law works. You are the proof. You are the living evidence that unseen forces are always at work, weaving perfection through every detail of your life. Every breath you take, every heartbeat that moves through you, every answered prayer that seemed to arrive just in time. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are the universe whispering, "See, my child, the law works, always perfectly, unshakably." Say softly, "I am the evidence that divine law works. Every part of my life is divine order made visible. I live in the proof of God's perfect timing." The world may tell you that proof comes after results. But in divine law, proof begins with belief. You do not wait to see before you believe. You believe, and then you see. Faith is the blueprint, life is the reflection. When your mind holds truth, and your heart holds peace, your world aligns accordingly. You have already experienced this, even if you did not know it. The moment you worried, and your worry created delay, that was the law at work. The moment you trusted, and doors opened effortlessly, that too was the law at work. It does not sleep, it does not pause, it simply mirrors the vibration you carry. Say softly, "The law of the universe never fails me. It responds to my faith with abundance. It responds to my peace with miracles." Divine law is not a mystery. It is precision. Just as gravity does not decide whom to serve, divine law does not decide whom to bless. It works through every person, every word, every feeling. When you think in harmony, you receive harmony. When you speak with faith, you attract faith's fulfillment. When you bless your life blesses you back. You are not an exception to the law. You are the expression of it. You are divine intelligence clothed in human form, learning to use the creative power that has always belonged to you. When you speak, creation listens. When you believe, energy aligns. When you act in faith, heaven confirms it. Say softly, "Divine law expresses through me effortlessly. My faith activates the unseen. My peace is the proof that the law is working." Beloved, most people search for evidence outside themselves. They look for signs in the sky, numbers on the clock, sudden miracles that prove they are blessed. But the highest proof is you. You woke up this morning. You have survived storms you thought would break you. You have received help at the exact moment you needed it. That is not luck. That is law in motion. The law of divine compensation, the law of circulation, the law of faith. They are always present, always responding. The question is never, is the law working? The question is, am I working with it or against it? Say softly, I work in harmony with divine law. I trust its perfection. I rest in its timing. The truth is, divine law does not fail. People simply forget their power within it. They speak words of lack and wonder why they see shortage. They think thoughts of fear and ask why peace seems distant. But every moment, the law is proving itself through their experience. Beloved, awareness is mastery. When you remember that every emotion is a command, every thought is a creation, and every word is a seed, you stop living by reaction and start living by revelation. You move from confusion to clarity, from struggle to flow. Say softly, my awareness is my evidence. My calm is my confirmation. My joy is my testimony. The greatest demonstration of divine law is not sudden wealth or instant healing. It is the quiet transformation within you. When your heart softens instead of hardens, when your spirit chooses peace over panic, when you walk in trust instead of tension, that is divine law rewriting your life from the inside out. And soon, the outer world catches up. Situations shift, doors open, people change. Not because you begged for it, but because you became it. Say softly, I am the living reflection of divine order. Everything in my life unfolds through perfect law. The universe confirms my faith daily. Beloved, remember this eternal truth. You are not separate from divine law. You are its manifestation. You are its proof, its evidence, its living success story. And every time you choose love instead of fear, every time you bless instead of complain, every time you believe instead of doubt, you strengthen the bridge between heaven and earth. Say softly, one final decree for this section. I am the evidence that divine law works. I walk as peace. I speak as faith. I live as proof. Everything in my world bears witness that God's law is perfect, under grace and in perfect timing. And so it is. Beloved, divine law never stops. It never sleeps. It never waits for your permission to work, because it is the rhythm of creation itself. From the rising of the sun to the beating of your heart, from the orbit of planets to the flow of breath, everything is governed by law. And that same law moves through your life, responding to your words, mirroring your faith, reflecting your vibration, whether you are aware of it or not. Say softly, divine law works perfectly through me. Even when I forget, it remembers. Even when I doubt, it holds me. Just as gravity does not turn off when you sleep, divine law does not turn off when you fear. It continues, patiently translating your inner world into outer results. It takes the tone of your thoughts and sculpts it into circumstance. It takes the shape of your emotion and paints it across your reality. You cannot escape it, beloved, because you are part of it. You are made of the same divine substance that moves galaxies. You are not separate from law. You are its living expression. Say softly, I am one with the divine order of life. I am never outside the flow of creation. I live within the perfection of divine law. The moment you speak a word, the law begins to arrange matter around that word. When you say, I can't. When you say, I can, the law obeys. When you say, it's hard, it shows you hardness. When you say, it's easy, it softens the path. Because divine law does not judge, it simply responds. Say softly, the law responds to my faith. The law multiplies my peace. The law manifests my belief. Many souls wonder why their prayers seem unanswered, but the truth is, no prayer is ever unheard. Every thought, every feeling, every affirmation is a seed planted in spiritual soil. And like all seeds, it grows according to its nature. A seed of fear produces more fear. A seed of joy produces joy. A seed of faith produces miracles. Beloved, the harvest always matches the seed, not because the law is unfair, but because the law is precise. It cannot give you what you do not vibrate. It cannot deliver abundance through the voice of worry. It cannot bring harmony while your words create resistance. Say softly, I plant only thoughts of love. I water them with faith. I harvest miracles in divine timing. Divine law is not personal, it is universal. It doesn't favor one person over another. It favors faith. It doesn't measure worthiness. It measures vibration. And what you believe yourself to be, you must inevitably see. Beloved, this is the sacred beauty of it all. You are never at the mercy of chance. You are never a victim of circumstance. You are always working with a law that listens, reflects, and fulfills. Say softly, the law and I are one. I speak and it answers. I believe and it becomes. Even when things seem uncertain, even when your prayers appear delayed, the law is still active. Aligning details, rearranging energy, moving through unseen corridors to bring you what is right, not rushed. You may not always see it, but you are always living inside it. Your entire existence is divine law in motion, the manifestation of thought and vibration turning into experience. Say softly, everything in my life unfolds through perfect law. Even what I don't understand is working for my good. Beloved, the law is impartial but deeply loving. It simply mirrors what continually impress upon it. That means your greatest power lies in awareness. Once you become conscious of how it operates, you can begin to use it intentionally, not to fight life, but to flow with it. When you understand the law, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start declaring, what is this teaching me to align with? Say softly, I align with divine cause. I think with divine mind. I live under divine law. You can't turn the law off, but you can rise above its lower expressions. For instance, the law of fear attracts fear, but the law of faith overrides it. The law of complaint creates more to complain about, but the law of gratitude cancels it instantly. You don't destroy law. Just as an airplane does not destroy gravity, it uses a higher law of lift. So it is with the soul. You rise above lack through generosity, above fear through love, above chaos through calm. Say softly, I rise above limitation by living in faith. I use higher laws of love and gratitude. I soar in divine alignment. Beloved, this is the mastery Florence taught. You are never helpless because you are never lawless. Every moment you breathe, the law listens. Every emotion you release, the law registers. Every word you speak, the law begins to build upon. That is why awareness is your greatest wealth. When you know the law, you stop repeating old patterns unconsciously. You become the author, not the actor, the director, not the bystander. You begin to use life as it was meant to be used, as a mirror of your divine authority. Say softly, I am awake to divine law. I am aware of my creative power. I am responsible for the energy I release. Even those who do not know this truth still live within it. That is why it is said, ignorance of the law is no excuse. It continues to operate through them, only now unconsciously. But the awakened soul knows, if my outer life displeases me, I need only change the inner cause. So you no longer blame people or fate. You bless them, release them, and shift your vibration. Because everything that happens is simply law showing you your frequency. And the moment you elevate that frequency, your entire world must follow. Say softly, my vibration is my command, my peace is my protection. My alignment is my evidence. Beloved, divine law is your most loyal companion. It does not abandon. It does not falter. It does not forget. It works through you, for you, and as you. And when you begin to trust that, you live in peace even before the manifestation arrives. Because you know, the law never misses. It never fails. It only fulfills. Say softly, one final decree. The law is working now. The law is always working. I am the living proof of its perfection. I am the evidence that divine law never fails, under grace and in perfect timing. And so it is, beloved. There is a moment in every soul's journey when prayer must evolve. When asking turns into knowing. When hoping turns into having. When waiting turns into being. The universe does not respond to pleading. It responds to certainty. It does not answer the cry of desperation. It answers the calm vibration of faith. When you know, you no longer chase. When you know, you no longer question. When you know, the law moves instantly. Because belief is its language. Say softly, I no longer ask in fear. I know in faith. It is already done. Every time you say, I hope this works, you are telling the universe that you doubt it will. Every time you say, please make this happen, you are telling divine law that it is not yet so. But when you say, thank you, it's already mine, you speak the vibration of completion, and heaven rushes to confirm your decree. Faith begins where asking ends. The moment you stop reaching outward and start believing inward, the universe says, now you are ready. Say softly, I no longer chase what is mine. I stand still in faith and receive. Beloved, asking is a stage of awakening, but knowing is mastery. The child asks for what they want. The mature soul declares what already is. The child looks for proof. The master becomes the proof. And you, beloved, are called now to be the master. Divine law has never required begging, only belief. It does not need long prayers, only clear ones. It does not need emotional pleading, only inner peace. Because in divine law, everything belongs to you is already stored in spirit, waiting for your vibration to match it. Say softly, my desires already exist in the invisible. They are now appearing through divine order. I believe, therefore I receive. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn called faith a spiritual substance. It is not empty hope. It is invisible matter. Faith is energy concentrated so cleanly that it becomes form. When you know, you magnetize that invisible energy into your experience. But when you ask in fear, you push it away. It's like telling the universe, I don't have it, and I might never get it. And the universe, being precise and obedient, mirrors that back. Beloved, stop confirming lack with your words. Stop asking for what you already have. Instead, declare, it is done. It is finished. It is fulfilled in divine order. The moment you speak those words with conviction, you align your consciousness with divine completion. And all things begin to move toward that fulfillment. When you know that divine law works, you no longer need to check on it. You no longer ask, when will it come? You simply prepare for its arrival. You behave as if it's already yours, because spiritually, it is. Say softly, I live in the vibration of having. I think from completion, not from need. Everything I desire is already in motion. Beloved, this is the greatest secret of manifestation. You do not manifest by wanting. You manifest by being. You must become the vibration of your desire. You must act as if the prayer is already answered. And you must speak as if the universe already heard you. Because it did. When you think and feel from the end, you call that end into the present. You create a bridge between the unseen and the seen, and your knowing becomes the magnet that draws it near. Say softly, I think from the end. I feel the completion that is done. The soul that knows does not rush. The soul that knows does not worry. The soul that knows simply aligns, breathes, and gives thanks. Because peace is the proof of knowing. When you are calm, it means the law has already begun its work. You cannot see the roots growing underground, but they are growing still. You cannot see the miracle forming in the unseen, but it is forming now. Say softly, though I do not see it yet, I know it is near. The law works beyond my sight, but never beyond my faith. Beloved, knowing does not mean controlling. It means trusting the intelligence behind the process. You are not the manufacturer of miracles. You are the witness of them. Divine law performs, your job is to believe. Faith opens the gate, doubt locks it. When you pray, don't speak from lack, speak from completion. Say not, God, please give me, but, thank you, God, that it is already done. That one shift, from pleading to praising, turns vibration into manifestation. Say softly, I thank before I receive. I celebrate before it appears. I know and therefore it must be. Beloved, knowing is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is recognizing that you are one with the creative force that governs all. You are not demanding from the universe. You are agreeing with it. You are saying, yes, I accept what already belongs to me. This is how miracles move quickly. Through calm acceptance, not loud insistence. When you stand in your spiritual authority, the law bows to your vibration. Say softly, I no longer ask as one unworthy. I declare as one divine. I am one with the source of all good. The difference between asking and knowing is the difference between delay and flow. When you ask, you imply it's missing. When you know, you confirm it's here. And divine law always matches your confirmation. You have asked enough. Now you must declare. You have wished enough. Now, you must witness. Say softly, I am the witness of divine fulfillment. I am the evidence that the law answers every call. It is done. It is finished. It is complete. Beloved, this is how miracles become natural. Not through begging, but through being. Not through trying, but through trusting. Not through worry, but through worship. Worship the truth that divine law is perfect and cannot fail. Say softly, one final decree for this section. I no longer live in asking. I live in knowing. What is nigh is already done. What I desire is already given. What I affirm becomes visible, under grace and in perfect timing. And so it is. Beloved, life is not a problem to be solved. It is a mirror to be understood. Every experience you have ever faced, every person who has crossed your path, every moment that has repeated again and again, all of it is the universe showing you you. What you see is not what is there. It is who you are. The outer world is the reflection of your inner atmosphere. When your heart is at peace, your world glows with harmony. When your mind is fearful, your reality trembles in confusion. The mirror of life does not judge, it simply reflects. Say softly, my world reflects my faith. My life mirrors my belief. I only see what I am ready to see. You can change your mirror only by changing your reflection. No one wipes a mirror at the face. They change the face itself. Yet so many souls polish the outer glass. They fix, they chase, they control, not realizing that the cause always within. If your relationships are cold, ask not who stopped loving you. Ask where you stopped loving yourself. If money feels scarce, ask not where it is hiding. Ask whether you have declared yourself worthy of it. If peace feels distant, ask not what the world has done. Ask what thoughts you have fed your spirit. Say softly, as within so without. As I believe, so I experience. As I love, so I receive. Beloved, this is the law of reflection, the silent sculptor of every human life. The mirror does not lie. It cannot lie. It is pure divine law in motion, showing you your vibration in living color. Every time you say, nothing ever works out for me, the mirror echoes, so be it. Every time you say, everything flows easily, the mirror replies, and so it shall. You are the cause, your world is the effect. You are the painter, life is your canvas. You are the musician, creation is your instrument. Say softly, I take full ownership of my vibration. I create from harmony, not habit. I am the cause of my peace. Most people live as reflections of others, reacting to what they see. But the awakened soul reverses the current. Instead of reacting to life, they radiate to life. They send out love where there is bitterness. They send out forgive if there is pain. They send out abundance where there is fear. And the mirror, loyal and faithful, must return that new image. Beloved, you are never a victim of reflection, you are the artist of it. You can repaint your world with every new thought, every new word, every new emotion. Each shift within ripples through the mirror instantly. It may take a moment for the outer form to rearrange, but once the vibration changes, the picture must follow. Say softly, my inner world creates my outer reality. When I shift, my world shifts. When I rise, my life rises. This is why judging others never serves you. Because you are looking into yourself. When you see lack in another, you activate lack within. When you bless another, you multiply blessing for both. The mirror works both ways. Whatever you project must return, magnified, clarified, sanctified. Say softly, I see only the divine in others. I bless every reflection of myself. I release all judgment and live in love. Beloved, when you understand that reality is a mirror, you no longer take things personally. You no longer fight against life. You listen to it. If conflict appears, it means something within you seeks peace. If delay appears, it means something within you still doubts divine timing. If abundance flows easily, it means your vibration matches divine generosity. The mirror is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher. Say softly, I listen to life as my spiritual teacher. Every reflection is revelation. Every challenge is correction. You see, the law of reflection is not punishment. It is mercy. It gives you the chance to see yourself and choose again. Every repeated situation is grace in disguise, saying, will you now choose differently? And the moment you do, the picture changes. The soul that understands this no longer fears external things. They stop saying, I'll be happy when this changes, and start saying, this will change because I am happy now. That is the voice of power, the sound of creation in human form. Say softly, nothing external controls me. I am the vibration behind every visible thing. My peace directs my life. Beloved, look at your world with spiritual eyes. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Say, what belief is this showing me? That one shift transforms the mirror into a map, a sacred guide showing you where your soul needs alignment. Once you find the belief, you can police it and replace it with truth. When you believe, I am unloved, the mirror shows rejection. Replace it with, I am love itself. When you mirror changes to affection. When you believe, I am poor, the mirror shows struggle. Replace it with, I am the source of my abundance, and prosperity begins to flow. Say softly, I rewrite my beliefs with divine truth. I see abundance. I feel abundance, I live abundance. The mirror reflects my faith. Beloved, do not fear the reflection, use it. When you see darkness, bring light. When you see chaos, bring gratitude. And soon the mirror will not only reflect you, it will magnify you. Remember, every time you rise in consciousness, your reflection brightens. You no longer live from reaction, you live from revelation. You no longer fight the image, you become the artist behind it. Say softly, I am not my reflection. I am the light that creates it. I am not my past. I am the truth that transcends it. I am divine awareness shaping divine. For and beloved, when you finally see your world shine with peace, you will realize that nothing outside ever needed fixing. It was always an inner adjustment. A shift from fear to faith, from complaint to gratitude, from doubt to knowing. Say softly, one final decree for this section. My life is the mirror of my consciousness. I choose love, and love reflects back. I choose peace, and peace surrounds me. I am the evidence that divine law reflects perfection, under grace and in perfect timing. And so it is. Beloved, gratitude is not the result of manifestation. It is the cause. Gratitude is not the celebration after receiving. It is the vibration that brings receiving forth. To give thanks before the harvest is faith. To give thanks before the door opens is mastery. And to live in gratitude always is to live in divine proof. Say softly, I give thanks before I see. I celebrate before I receive. My gratitude is my proof that the law is working. Every time you say, thank you align with divine intelligence. Every time you appreciate what you have, you multiply it. Every time you bless what seems small, you open the gate for something greater. Because gratitude is not emotion, it is energy. It is the purest frequency of completion. When you are grateful, you declare to the universe, it is already done. You speak the language of divine fulfillment. You are saying, I trust the process. I trust the timing. I trust the law. Say softly, I am grateful for what I see and what I do not see yet. I am thankful for answered prayers still unfolding. Gratitude opens every door for me. Beloved, gratitude is the atmosphere of miracles. No soul can remain in complaint and expect divine results. For the law responds not to your words, but to your vibration. If you speak thanks but feel worry, your words are hollow. But if you whisper thanks with peace in your heart, even before the manifestation arrives, the heavens themselves begin to move in your favor. When you say, thank you for the abundance I have not seen yet, you step into the unseen, where the real creation happens. You shift from the physical to the spiritual, from effort to ease, from waiting to receiving. Say softly, I give thanks now, for everything now. Gratitude is my bridge from the invisible to the visible. I live in the vibration of completion. Gratitude turns delay into divine timing. It turns challenge into teaching. It turns loss into blessing. For what you bless, you heal. And what you curse, you multiply in pain. Bless it all, beloved. The confusion, the waiting, the breakthrough, the lesson. Every part of it has been working for you. Say softly, I bless my past for shaping me. I bless my present for sustaining me. I bless my future for fulfilling me. You see, gratitude and faith are twins. They walk hand in hand. Faith says, it is done. Gratitude says, thank you that it's done. Together, they activate the entire universe. They speak the only language the law understands: assurance. When you are grateful, fear loses its grip, worry fades, and peace takes its rightful place. Because you cannot be thankful and fearful at the same time. One cancels the other. Gratitude is the antidote to fear, the medicine for doubt, and the key that unlocks every door of delay. Say softly, gratitude dissolves all resistance. My thanks creates instant alignment. I receive because I am grateful. Beloved, look around you. Even now, the evidence of grace surrounds you. The air you breathe, the roof that covers you, the strength that still carries you. Each is a miracle you once prayed for. Gratitude reminds you that you are already living an answered prayer. When you give thanks for what you have, you prepare for what is next. When you celebrate the small, you qualify for the great. For the universe never expands in the presence of complaint, but it multiplies infinitely the presence of gratitude. Say softly, thank you for what I have. Thank you for what is coming. Thank you for what has passed. All of it serves my divine good. Beloved, gratitude is faith made visible. It is how the soul confirms to heaven, I trust you completely. You cannot fake gratitude. It must rise from knowing. When you truly believe that divine law never fails, You cannot help but feel grateful, even for the process itself. Even the unanswered prayers carry grace. Even the detours lead to destiny. Even the pauses are divine preparation. Gratitude sees beyond the moment and declares, "This too is love. This too is working for me." Say softly, "I am thankful in every season. Even in silence, I hear the blessings forming. Even in stillness, I feel abundance growing." When you live in this vibration, you move from proving to flowing, from chasing to attracting. Gratitude becomes your silent signal to the universe. A frequency that says, "Said more like this." And the law, ever faithful, answers, "Yes, and even more shall be added." Beloved, gratitude does not wait for the ending. It honors the beginning. It praises before the performance. It celebrates before the arrival. It thanks God in the hallway, not just when the door opens. That is divine maturity. Say softly, "I am grateful while I wait. I am grateful while it forms. I am grateful because it is already done in spirit." A gratitude transforms your aura into a magnet. People feel it. Opportunities sense it. Abundance recognizes it. Your energy says, "I am complete." And completion always attracts completion. The soul that is grateful lacks nothing, because gratitude is wealth. Gratitude is abundance. Gratitude is divine proof. Say softly, "My gratitude is my greatest wealth. I am rich in peace, rich in love, rich in divine timing. Everything I bless multiplies before my eyes." Beloved, let gratitude become your constant prayer. Let it flow through your thoughts before you speak. Let it rise from your heart before you act. Let it fill your home, your relationships, your work, your rest. Because where gratitude lives, grace abides. Say softly, one final decree for this section: gratitude is my frequency. Gratitude is my faith. Gratitude is my proof. All that is mine is already given, under grace and in perfect timing. And so it is. Beloved, the highest form of faith is not in words, it is in embodiment. To live as the proof of divine law means to walk through each day as though heaven is already within you. It means to wake up with quiet confidence, to meet challenges with calm assurance, to speak truth softly yet with power. When you embody divine law, you no longer need to convince anyone. Your peace speaks for you. Your calm becomes your evidence. Your joy becomes your testimony. Your life becomes a sermon without words. Say softly, "I am the living proof of divine law. My peace proves that God is present. My success proves that faith never fails." Beloved, embodiment means harmony between thought, word, and action. It means your thoughts align with your faith, your words align with your truth, and your actions align with divine timing. When these three are one, nothing can fall apart. Because you are anchored in law. The outer world bends to the inner vibration. So when you live from divine alignment, everything around you begins to take shape in order, precision, and grace. Say softly, "My inner world is calm, therefore my outer world flows. My thoughts are rooted in truth, therefore my results are divine." To live as the proof means to embody the qualities of the divine itself: stillness, faith, gratitude, forgiveness, generosity, and joy. Each moment you choose these, you are writing proof into your life. Every act of kindness is proof that love rules your world. Every calm reaction is proof that you live above fear. Every generous decision is proof that abundance flows through you. Beloved, divine law does not ask for perfection. It asks for practice. Each thought, each word, each response is a sacred opportunity to demonstrate what you believe. You cannot say, "I live in divine order," and then rush in panic. You cannot say, "I am divinely provided for," and then speak of lack. You cannot say, "I trust the process," and then fight against its timing. The proof is not in what you say once. It is in what you choose daily. Say softly, "I am consistent in faith. I walk my talk. My energy matches my declarations. Beloved, when you truly embody divine law, you do not worry about appearances. You trust essence. You do not compete. You create. You do not fear delay. You honor preparation. You know that divine intelligence is already arranging the details. You know that every situation carries hidden perfection. Living as the proof means you bless life, even when it does not go as planned. It means you trust that every detour is still the right road. It means you meet obstacles not as enemies, but as teachers. Say softly, everything in my life is working in divine harmony. Even when I do not understand, I trust completely. I am the walking rhythm of divine timing. Beloved, imagine what your life feels like when you stop reacting to circumstances and start responding from truth. When your peace remains steady, regardless of the storm. When your love remains unshaken, regardless of rejection. When your joy remains radiant, regardless of appearance. That is the proof, unshakable serenity that comes from knowing the law never fails. Say softly, my peace cannot be disturbed. My faith cannot be shaken. My joy cannot be stolen. I am grounded in divine law. You are not here to explain divine law. You are here to express it. You are not here to preach about abundance. You are here to live it so fully that others feel it in your presence. Your energy teaches louder than your words. Your calm heals deeper than your vice. Your vibration is your testimony. Say softly, I embody abundance. I radiate peace. I express divine truth through everything I do. Beloved, every choice you make becomes a declaration of faith. When you pay your bilitude instead of resentment, you prove prosperity. When you give freely without fear, you prove infinite supply. When you forgive quickly, you prove divine love. And when you walk with ease through uncertainty, you prove divine timing. This is what it means to live as the law in action. Not to talk of miracles, but to become one. Not to wait for peace, but to carry it. Not to seek light, but to shine it. Say softly, I am the miracle I once waited for. I am the peace I used to seek. I am the light I prayed would come. The moment you live in alignment, you move from seeking evidence to being evidence. Your aura shifts. People feel your calm before you speak. Opportunities flow toward you without effort. The law recognizes itself within you and multiplies your good. And in that vibration, you no longer force. You no longer chase. You no longer question. You simply allow. Because you know, the proof is already living through you. Say softly, I am divine flow in motion. Everything I touch prospers. Everything I release returns multiplied. Beloved, when you live as the proof, you bless in silence, love without limits, and trust without hesitation. You stop asking, when will it happen? And begin saying, it is happening now. You stop needing validation because truth is self-evident, and your entire being radiates certainty. The serene, powerful certainty that divine law has never failed and never will. Say softly, I am living proof that divine law is real. I am peace in motion. I am prosperity walking. I am faith embodied. Beloved, this is your sacred task. To live what you know. To demonstrate what you teach. To walk in divine alignment so fully that your presence becomes evidence of grace. Say softly, one final decree for this section. I live as proof of divine law. My peace is evidence. My joy is confirmation. My abundance is testimony. Every breath I take declares the law works, under grace and in perfect timing. And so it is. Beloved, there comes a sacred moment on every spiritual path. A still point where words end and knowing begins. It is the moment when you no longer seek signs. No longer question the process. No longer ask, is the law working for me? Because you have become the living testimony that it is. You are no longer a student of faith. You are its expression. You are no longer chasing manifestation. You are manifesting by simply existing. You are no longer proving the law. You are the proof. Say softly, I am the testimony of spirit in form. I am the visible evidence of invisible truth. I am divine law fulfilled. The spirit within you has been whispering this truth since the beginning, that you were never separate from abundance, never apart from love, never lacking anything. The universe has always been complete. You were only learning to see it. Every lesson, every delay, every detour was preparation, the sculpting of your consciousness, until you could hold this realization that divine law was never outside you. It was within you, waiting to be recognized. Say softly, I no longer seek what I already am. I no longer chase what I already hold. I no longer doubt what is already done. Beloved, the Spirit testifies not in thunder or in spectacle, but in peace. The testimony of Spirit is silence, the kind of silence that vibrates with certainty. It is the quiet joy of knowing that all is well, that nothing is missing, that everything is unfolding under grace and in perfect timing. This is the peace that passes understanding. It is not learned, it is remembered. It is not achieved, it is revealed. It is the soul returning to its original awareness. I and the Father are one. I and divine law are one. I and abundance are one. Say softly, I rest in divine union. I am whole, complete, and provided for. I am already what I desire to become. Beloved, this realization changes everything. When the Spirit within you testifies of truth, you stop measuring your worth by outcomes. You stop fearing loss, because you know nothing real can be taken. You stop envying others, because you know every soul is on their divine timeline. You stop rushing, because you finally trust divine timing. This is mastery, to live without anxiety, to without fear, to move without force, and to receive without guilt. Say softly, I live in the peace of knowing. I live in the rest of divine order. Everything that belongs to me finds me with ease. The Spirit does not need proof of prosperity, it is prosperity. It does not need validation of power, it is power. It does not strive to manifest, it simply allows what is already true to become visible. Beloved, when you walk in this awareness, you no longer depend on results to confirm your faith. Your faith becomes the result. You no longer wait for evidence. And every corner of your life begins to shine with quiet grace. Say softly, I am proof that faith fulfills itself. I am proof that love provides. I am proof that divine law always keeps its promise. Now you begin to see that all along, nothing was random, not a single moment. Even the unanswered prayers were answered differently. Even the waiting was divine choreography. Even the heartbreak was holy instruction. The Spirit testifies that everything served your awakening. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was lost. Say softly, everything in my story was sacred. Every lesson was love in disguise. Every ending was a doorway to grace. Beloved, this is the final realization. You were never trying to make divine law work. You were learning to remember that it already does. You were never asking for abundance. You were remembering that abundance is your nature. You were never searching for God. You were remembering that God was expressing through you. This is why peace feels like coming home. Because it is home. When you return to faith, you return to yourself. When you live as peace, you live as proof. Say softly, I am home in the law. I am safe in divine order. I am whole in spirit. Beloved, imagine for a moment your life now shining with this awareness. Every morning you rise with gratitude instead of worry. Every evening you rest in peace instead of pressure. You no longer live from reaction. You live from revelation. You no longer wonder what will happen. You trust that it is already happening through grace. This is the testimony of spirit, a life that radiates calm power. that loves without measure, that walks in abundance without effort, that blesses without fear. Say softly, my life is my testimony. My peace is my proof. My joy is my ministry. My abundance is my evidence. Beloved, let this realization settle into your heart. You are not learning how to manifest. You are remembering that you were born manifesting. Every word, every thought, every emotion has always shaped reality. Now, you do it consciously, lovingly, under grace and in perfect timing. You are not hoping to see miracles. You are the miracle through which miracles appear. You are not waiting for confirmation. You are the confirmation that divine law is alive and active. Say softly, with reverence and power, I am the testimony of divine law. I am the evidence that faith creates form. I am the living truth that spirit never fails. Beloved, let this be your final knowing. You do not need to prove divine law. You only need to live it, and life will prove it through you. Every step you take, every word you speak, every breath you breathe will testify the law works, always, effortlessly, eternally. Say softly, one last decree to seal this journey. I am the evidence that divine law works. I am the peace that confirms it. I am the abundance that reveals it. I am the light through which it shines, under grace and in perfect timing. And so it is, and it was always so.
Seeker of abundance, there exists within you a golden key, the power of visualization, a sacred faculty that can draw to you the very treasures of the universe. Life is not a game of chance. It is a divine orchestration of thought, belief, and unwavering knowing. The world may say, the lottery is luck, but Spirit whispers, your word, your image, your vision is the law. When you stand in the quiet of your own mind and behold your good as already yours, you are not wishing, you are creating. You are not hoping, you are commanding. In the invisible realm, every desire already exists, complete and radiant, waiting only for your recognition. The moment you dare to see it in the theater of your imagination, the universe begins its sure and silent work. It aligns time, people, and circumstance as effortlessly as the sun rises. To win is not to struggle. To win is to know. To win is to see before the world sees. When you fix your inner eye upon your prize, the winning numbers, the victory, the joy of it already accomplished, you are engraving your destiny upon the unseen tablet of divine substance. Most souls stumble because they pray with their lips, yet doubt in their hearts. They reach for good with trembling fingers rather than with a kingly hand. But you must stand as one who knows their royal inheritance. The abundance of the universe is not locked away. It is streaming constantly, like a mighty river, waiting for your word to give it direction. When you speak your vision with certainty, when you hold the picture without wavering, when your inner sight is sharper than the world's doubt, you summon miracles as naturally as breath. There is a great law that responds, not to confusion, but to clarity. It moves not for the hesitant, but for the one who sees with the inner eye and claims with authority. In this sacred art, the lottery is not an impossible dream. It becomes a symbol, a sign, of how quickly and precisely Spirit can deliver when you align thought and faith. Each number, each sequence, each detail is already written in the divine mind. As you quiet the chatter of fear and tune into that higher frequency of certainty, the picture grows luminous, the path opens, and what was once a distant hope becomes a living reality. This is not mere wishing. This is commanding the invisible with the authority of your own divine nature. The world may call it luck, but those who know the law call it alignment. They know that when vision is pure and word is steadfast, nothing can resist its manifestation. When you learn to see not with your eyes, but with your spirit, the game is no longer outside of you, it is one within. Long before the numbers are ever drawn, to see it first within, before it appears without, is to understand the hidden architecture of manifestation. All creation begins in the invisible, long before it takes shape in the visible world. The mind is not a passive instrument, it is the blueprint, the sacred workshop where the unseen becomes substance. When the heart holds an image with unwavering certainty, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match that inner picture. To visualize with power is not to daydream aimlessly, but to impress upon the deep mind the exact pattern of what you desire, so clearly and vividly that it feels more real than the current moment. There is an inner eye, a divine lens, through which you can behold things not yet born to the senses. When you close your physical eyes and open this inner sight, you step into the realm of infinite possibility. Every image held there with conviction is like a seed planted in fertile soil. It does not question how the harvest will come, it only knows it must. When you hold the vision of your winning moment with the calm authority of one who knows, not hopes, the universe begins its precise, silent movement. All things needed to fulfill the image start aligning. The outer world is a mirror. It reflects the inner picture, not the fleeting thought, but the deep, steady impression. If the inner image is blurred by doubt, the reflection will be uncertain. But when the inner picture is sharp, vibrant, and unwavering, the outer mirror must yield to its form. It cannot resist. It has no will of its own. The inner image commands, the outer obeys. That is the hidden law so few understand. People wait for the outer to show them a sign before they believe, but the wise believe first, and the sign follows. To see it first within requires discipline of thought. The mind must be trained to dwell only upon the picture of fulfillment. It must refuse to feed upon fear, hesitation, or lack. The moment you accept the image of victory as already yours, your vibration shifts. Your entire being aligns with that reality, and unseen currents respond. Doors open, timing adjusts. People and events fall into perfect rhythm. This is not chance. This is the invisible law made visible. You may sit quietly and let your inner eye paint the scene in detail. Feel the weight of the ticket in your hand, the thrill of the winning moment, the sound of celebration, the scent of the room, the beating of your heart as certainty fills you. These sensations are not idle imaginings, they are the language of creation. When you feel it as real, you impress it deeply upon the subconscious, and what is impressed must express. The subconscious does not argue, it does not question if it is possible. It receives the image as fact and sets the entire universe in motion to bring it forth. This inner seeing must be practiced with reverence and authority. The more often you return to the inner vision, the stronger its imprint becomes. The stronger the imprint, the faster the outer world reshapes itself to match it. Doubt scatters the seed, certainty roots it deep. You are the sower of every outcome in your life, and the soil of the invisible is always fertile. Whatever you plant in it with feeling and faith must rise. Most people look to the world to show them proof before they allow themselves to believe. They stare at numbers, odds, or statistics and let that dictate their faith. But this is like demanding a reflection appear in the mirror before you stand before it. The mirror reflects only what is placed before it. So too does the universe reflect only what you hold within. If you hold lack, you see lack. If you hold victory, you meet victory. The mirror is never at fault. It is only the image you offer it. The secret is not to strain, not to force, but to rest in the absolute knowing that the inner image is the cause and the outer is the effect. You do not chase the effect, you cultivate the cause. This is the place of true power. When your inner sight is steady, the outer world must follow like a shadow follows form. This is why visualization is not a game of chance, but a law of cause and effect, as real and precise as gravity. To see it first within is to step out of the world of uncertainty and into the realm of command. You are no longer a beggar asking for proof, you are a creator setting the pattern. You need not explain how it will come, for that is the work of the unseen forces. Your only task is to hold the vision with clarity, to see it so completely that no doubt can enter. The clearer the inner vision, the quicker the outer alignment. When you learn to close your eyes to the noise of the world and open them to the stillness of your spirit, you find that what you desire is already waiting in the invisible, whole and perfect. You are not trying to make it happen, you are simply allowing it to reveal itself. The inner image is the invitation, the outer reality is the response. Every great manifestation begins as a whisper in the inner chamber of the mind before it becomes a roar in the world. This seeing is not the fragile seeing of a wish, but the firm seeing of a decree. When kings and queens of old gave their word, they did not wonder if their command would be carried out. So must you hold your vision as a royal decree issued into the unseen. The moment you speak it within, the unseen begins its movement. To see it first within is to trust the invisible more than the appearance, to rest in certainty while the world catches up. The outer world may still look unchanged as your inner vision blazes like a torch, but appearances are the last to move. The roots grow beneath the soil before the sprout breaks through. This is why patience is not waiting in fear, but standing in calm knowing. The unseen work is already underway. Each time you return to the inner picture, you water the seed. Each moment you feel it real, the roots deepen. Eventually, the unseen becomes seen, not as a miracle, but as an inevitable unfolding. The vision held steadfast is the seed. The outer manifestation is the harvest. Those who look only at the outer world will call it luck, but you will know it was born in the inner temple of your imagination. This is the law of seeing first within, the unshakable foundation upon which all manifestations stand. It is the way the unseen world speaks into form, the way desire becomes reality, the way the game is won before the numbers are ever revealed. To speak your vision as law, not as wish, is to rise above the trembling language of hope and step into the royal language of certainty. Words are not idle sounds drifting into space. They are commands to the unseen, declarations to the substance of the universe. The spoken word is creative power in motion. Every word you utter with conviction carves a path through the invisible and shapes the outcome in the visible. When you speak as though what you desire is already fact, the universe bows to that decree. It does not argue, it moves, it aligns, it obeys. To wish is to plead, to speak as though something is out of reach, to place yourself beneath the thing you desire. But to declare as law is to stand in authority, to speak as one who already possesses, to issue your words like a king's seal upon a royal command. The energy of wishing is soft and uncertain. It drifts and fades, but the energy of declaring is sharp, clear, and irresistible. It carries weight, it carries dominion. It tells the universe exactly what shape to take. Every moment you open your mouth, you give shape to your reality. Many speak casually, not realizing that their words are living seeds. A seed of doubt grows just as surely as a seed of faith. A seed of lack grows just as quickly as a seed of abundance. The soil of the unseen does not discriminate. It receives whatever you plant. If your words are laced with fear, it reflects fear. If they are charged with authority, it reflects power. To speak your vision as law is to stop scattering uncertain seeds and begin planting with deliberate mastery. You do not need to shout. The power does not lie in volume, but in vibration. A whisper spoken with conviction is mightier than a loud cry spoken in doubt. It is the inner authority behind the word that moves mountains. When you speak your winning moment as though it is already done, the vibration of certainty radiates through your being. That vibration becomes your signal to the unseen, and the unseen responds with precision. The outer world cannot resist a word spoken as law. When you declare, you must speak in the present, not in the language of delay. To say, "I will," is to push it into tomorrow. To say, "I have," is to anchor it in now. The unseen moves through the present, not through the distance of a future hope. The moment you speak as though it is already yours, something shifts. The outer world may appear unchanged, but the foundation beneath it begins to move. The spoken word is the hammer striking the unseen stone, shaping it into form. It is not enough to think in silence and then undo it with weak speech. Thought is the mold, but the spoken word sets the mold in motion. It gives life to the vision. Each time you declare your vision, you are not begging for it to come. You are commanding it to manifest. The universe responds to authority because authority is aligned with the law of creation. When you speak with doubt, the command is unclear. When you speak with certainty, the command is law. The words must be clean and exact, untainted by hesitation. To say, "I hope I win," is to cast a shadow of uncertainty. But to say, "I have received my winning," is to proclaim a fact to the invisible. The invisible hears no difference between what is seen and unseen. It accepts the command and builds the bridge between where you stand and what you have declared. Your words are the blueprint. Your conviction is the foundation. There are unseen forces listening, not with ears but with vibration. They do not hear the literal sound of your words. They feel the energy that rides upon them. A wavering tone reveals a wavering heart. A steady tone reveals an unshakable knowing. When your inner belief and spoken word match perfectly, manifestation accelerates. There is no conflict, no delay, no doubt. The outer world follows the line of least resistance, and your command becomes fact. It is wise to speak your vision often, not in a restless repetition born of fear, but in a calm, rhythmic decree that reinforces your dominion. Each word spoken with certainty strengthens the invisible structure of your reality. Like a sculptor striking the marble with precision, each word chips away at the unseen block until the masterpiece emerges. The moment of outer manifestation is only the final unveiling of what your words have already shaped. Many speak their vision like a question, hoping the universe will answer. But the universe does not answer questions. It responds to declarations. It does not move for the unsure. It moves for the commander. It mirrors the language it is given. If you speak as though you are waiting, it gives you waiting. If you speak as though you have received, it delivers the reality of that receipt. To speak as law is to speak as if the invisible is already visible, as if the unseen is already in your hand. This requires a certain stillness within, a certainty that does not depend on appearances. Appearances may contradict your declaration, but they hold no power over a word spoken in authority. The world of appearances is slow to move compared to the swiftness of the spoken decree. The spoken word travels like lightning into the unseen, and the seen slowly bends to its shape. Those who trust appearances speak weakly, but those who trust the word speak with power. When you speak your vision, you must feel it resonate through every cell of your being. It is not mere recitation, it is embodiment. Your breath carries the word, your tone carries your faith, your vibration carries your command. You are not merely saying words, you are shaping the unseen fabric of reality. Every statement made with authority is like a stake driven into the ground of the invisible, marking your territory, declaring, "This is mine now." To speak as law is to accept no contradiction. If doubt arises in the mind, it must be silenced with the word. You speak over fear until it bows. You speak over hesitation until it dissolves. The word is the sword that cuts through all resistance. It has no rival except your own uncertainty. When your speech no longer carries the tremor of wishful thinking but the steady rhythm of divine command, everything begins to fall into place. This is not arrogance, it is alignment with the law of creation. All great manifestations begin with a spoken decree. Empires were built on words. Movements were born from declarations. Lives were transformed when a single voice said, "So it is." You are not separate from this power. It lives in your mouth, waiting for you to use it with purpose. To speak as law is to stop asking for permission and begin issuing the command. When the world sees your manifestation, it may call it chance. It may call it luck. But you will know it was the invisible law answering the call of your voice. You will know the words you spoke shaped the path beneath your feet. You will know that your command went forth long before the outer evidence arrived. This is the nature of true speech. Not the frail words of a beggar, but the unwavering decree of a creator. Every time your lips form the words of certainty, the unseen rearranges itself around your vision. People appear, circumstances shift, doors open, paths clear. Not because you pleaded, but because you commanded. The universe understands the language of law, not the language of wish. When you finally speak your vision with the authority of one who knows, the outer world must align. It cannot do otherwise. The word has been spoken, and what is spoken in authority sets creation in motion. To hold unwavering faith in the unseen is to anchor yourself in the quiet certainty that the invisible is more real than the shifting appearance of the visible. Faith is not fragile hope. Faith is not a trembling wish. Faith is the steady flame that does not flicker, no matter how strong the winds of doubt may blow. When you hold unwavering faith, you stand in a realm where the outcome is already accomplished, even if the world around you seems untouched. Faith does not wait for proof, it creates proof. Faith does not beg for signs, it is itself the sign. The unseen is the birthplace of everything that has ever come to pass. Every structure, every invention, every fortune, every transformation began in that silent dimension where only the faithful can see. To the one without faith, it is nothing. To the one with faith, it is everything. It is substance before it becomes form, the promise before the manifestation. To trust the unseen is to trust the deeper law that governs all things, the law that responds not to fear, not to doubt, but to unwavering certainty. Doubt is loud, but faith is steady. Doubt demands evidence, but faith creates it. Doubt looks to the world for permission, but faith issues the decree. When you hold unwavering faith, appearances lose their grip on you. You no longer measure your destiny by what your eyes can see, but by what your spirit already knows. Faith does not chase after the visible. Faith knows the visible is merely the echo of the unseen, and what is held firmly in the unseen must eventually echo in form. There is a power in silent, steadfast belief that shakes the foundation of the visible world. While others waver, the one who holds faith remains unmoved. The outer world may shift like sand, but the inner conviction stands like stone. When faith is anchored, the movement of circumstances becomes irrelevant. Delays lose their sting, obstacles lose their weight. Because faith does not depend on appearances, it cannot be shaken by them. To hold unwavering faith is to make the unseen your home. You wake with the quiet, knowing that your vision is already alive in a higher dimension. You speak, act, and move as though it has already arrived. You are no longer a seeker, you are a receiver. Faith wraps you in a stillness that the outer noise cannot disturb. It becomes a fortress around your mind, shielding you from the arrows of doubt. Faith is not blind. Faith sees more clearly than the eyes ever could. It sees through the veil of appearances into the eternal order beneath. Where others see impossibility, faith sees certainty. Where others see delay, faith sees perfect timing. Where others feel lack, faith sees overflowing abundance. To hold unwavering faith in the unseen is to look directly at the invisible and call it real. To refuse to bow to appearances and to declare with your entire being, "It is already done." This kind of faith cannot be borrowed. It must be built. It grows in the soil of repetition, vision, and inner knowing. Each time you return to the picture of what you desire and choose faith over fear, your root deepens. Each moment you refuse to flinch at the appearance of delay, your trunk strengthens. Each declaration spoken from unwavering belief becomes another branch of your inner tree. Soon, your faith becomes a living structure that nothing can shake. Many people hold faith as long as circumstances appear favorable, but when the wind shifts, their faith wavers. True power begins where appearances contradict your vision. It is in that space that unwavering faith stands alone, radiant, untouched. This is the turning point. The unseen is not moved by outer storms. It waits for your inner stillness. When you refuse to waver, when you remain anchored in knowing, the outer world is forced to yield. Faith is not a feeling that comes and goes. It is a state of being that you choose. The outer world may whisper, "It's not happening." Doubt may scream, "It's too late." But faith stands in quiet silence and answers, "It is already mine." That silence is more powerful than 1,000 cries of fear. That silence commands. That silence holds. That silence moves the unseen into the seen. The unseen is rich with endless possibilities. To the wavering, it remains a mystery. To the faithful, it becomes a wellspring of certainty. When you hold unwavering faith, you are no longer waiting for something to happen. You are living in the reality of it already done. Your faith becomes the bridge that connects the invisible vision to visible manifestation. You no longer question when or how, you simply know. Unwavering faith creates a magnetic force. It draws to itself everything that aligns with its vibration. People, circumstances, and events begin to move in ways beyond conscious calculation. To those on the outside, it may seem like coincidence or luck, but to the one holding faith, it is the natural order of things. Faith does not struggle to attract, it simply allows. It holds the space, and the universe fills it. To hold unwavering faith in the unseen is to become untouchable by fear. It does not mean fear never whispers. It means fear has no power to sway you. When fear knocks, faith does not answer. When appearances threaten, faith remains unmoved. This unshakable position is what bends reality. The outer world can only mirror the inner state, and when the inner state is unbreakable, the outer must conform. In moments of silence, when no one is watching, when nothing seems to move, faith is the invisible companion that whispers, "Keep standing." It does not need evidence, because it is evidence. It does not require proof, because it is proof. It does not bow to time, because it lives outside of time. The unseen is timeless, and faith is the language through which it speaks. This kind of faith is not born overnight. It is built each time you choose trust over doubt, each time you anchor in certainty when appearances urge panic. Each test is an opportunity to strengthen your roots. Each storm is a chance to prove that nothing can move what is already settled in the unseen. The stronger your faith becomes, the less power the outer world holds over you. Unwavering faith is not loud, but it is unbreakable. It does not perform for others. It is not concerned with convincing anyone. It is a quiet conversation between your soul and the invisible. It is the still nod that says, "I know," when everything else shouts, "You can't." It is the unspoken command that turns the tide without lifting a hand. It is the invisible anchor beneath the surface of the storm. When you hold unwavering faith, you stop negotiating with appearances. You no longer ask, "When will it come?" because you know it has already come. The unseen is more real to you than the seen. You walk with a posture of certainty. You speak from completion. You think as one who has already received. This vibration cannot be faked, and it cannot be ignored by the universe. Unwavering faith is the greatest force you can wield because it aligns you with the eternal order of creation. Everything in the visible world must eventually yield to it. The law is precise and unchanging. What is held in faith must become form. What is believed without wavering must appear. It may take time for the outer shell to crack, but the seed planted in faith is already alive beneath the surface. Faith is the invisible foundation upon which all manifestations rest. Without it, words are empty, visions are unstable, and declarations fade. With it, every word becomes law, every vision takes root, every declaration sets the universe in motion. To hold unwavering faith in the unseen is to hold the power of creation itself. It is the key that turns unseen into seen, silence into sound, desire into reality. It is the quiet certainty that bends the fabric of the visible world without force or struggle. To align thought, word, and feeling is to gather the scattered strands of your power and weave them into a single unbreakable current. Most people think one thing, speak another, and feel something entirely different. Their energy is divided, their signal to the universe is blurred, and their manifestations are uncertain. But when thought, word, and feeling become one, the message sent into the unseen is sharp as a blade. It is not mixed with hesitation. It is not clouded by contradiction. It moves through the invisible like a clear beam of light, and creation cannot ignore it. Thought is the blueprint, word is the command, and feeling is the life force that animates the command. If one is weak, the structure collapses. If one contradicts the others, the universe receives confusion, not clarity. To align these three is to become a master of deliberate creation. It is the state where what you think matches what you speak, and what you speak flows in harmony with what you feel. There is no division in your being. You are one clear vibration, one unwavering declaration, one complete force moving through the unseen. Many think of what they desire but speak against it. They entertain dreams in silence, yet give their doubts voice. They imagine wealth and speak of lack. They visualize victory and declare defeat. The unseen listens not only to what you think, but to the vibration carried by your words and the current flowing through your feelings. It does not separate them. It reads the harmony or disharmony between them. A house divided against itself cannot stand, and a manifestation divided in energy cannot form. Thought alone is not enough. A thought without spoken word and feeling is like a seed left on a rock. It holds potential but never takes root. Words alone are not enough either. Words without matching thought and feeling are hollow shells. The universe feels the emptiness behind them. Feeling alone can be powerful, but if it is tangled with contradicting thoughts and words, it becomes scattered energy. Manifestation requires all three to march in step like a single army, not wander like three strangers. When your thought says, "I have," your word must echo, "I have," and your feeling must hum with the quiet joy of already having. That is the state of alignment. In this state, you no longer send out mixed signals. You no longer pray one way and fear another. You no longer build with thought and tear down with word. You stand in unity within yourself, and this unity is power. The unseen does not question or delay when it receives a clear, harmonious signal. Thought is the beginning of all creation. It is the image drawn upon the canvas of the invisible. When your thought is fixed on your vision with clarity and certainty, you shape the unseen with precision. Word gives this thought a voice. It declares it into existence. It turns the silent picture into a command. And feeling breathes life into the command. It charges the declaration with vitality, like wind filling the sails of a ship. Without feeling, words are dry, and thoughts remain idle sketches. With feeling, they become living forces moving through the invisible. Feelings are the language the universe understands most directly. You may speak many words, but the feeling behind them reveals the truth. If your words say, "I have," but your feeling whispers, "I doubt," the unseen will respond to the whisper, not the word. The vibration of your emotion is stronger than the sound of your speech. This is why alignment requires more than reciting phrases. It requires bringing your inner state into harmony with your declaration. This alignment does not come by chance. It is a deliberate act of mastery. You train your mind to hold the vision without wavering. You choose your words carefully, speaking only what affirms the vision. You nurture the feeling of already possessing the outcome. This creates a steady current, a rhythm between thought, word, and feeling that grows stronger with each repetition. The more often you return to this harmony, the more powerful your signal becomes. Many waver because their emotions betray their words. They speak affirmations but carry a current of fear beneath. They declare abundance but hold tight to the feeling of lack. This contradiction dilutes the power of their creation. The universe does not respond to empty speech, but to the unified energy behind it. When you speak what you truly feel and think, the vibration is strong and the response is swift. To align thought, word, and feeling is to stop living in fragments. It is to stop sending out one message with your mouth and another with your heart. The invisible cannot respond to confusion, it must have clarity. A confused command delays manifestation, not because the universe is unwilling, but because the signal is tangled. Alignment is clarity. It is a single flame burning steadily, not a flickering light tossed by the wind. This alignment is like tuning an instrument. If one string is off key, the entire melody falters. But when each string is tuned to the same note, the music flows effortlessly. Thought must be tuned to certainty. Word must be tuned to declaration. Feeling must be tuned to possession. Together they create a melody so clear that the unseen responds as if it had no choice. This is not force, it is harmony. When your inner state is aligned, even silence becomes a command. You no longer need to shout your vision into the world. The steady vibration of your being becomes enough. People begin to appear. Opportunities unfold. Circumstances shift without visible struggle. This is the quiet power of alignment. It is invisible to the eye but unmistakable in its effects. You may practice this alignment by returning to the image of your desire in thought, speaking it aloud with conviction, and then letting the feeling of it already being yours fill your body. This creates an inner circle of power. Thought creates, word commands, feeling seals. When this circle is unbroken, no force can delay the unfolding of what you have declared. The universe mirrors what you are, not what you pretend to be. Alignment makes you a perfect reflection of your vision. This state requires vigilance. Stray thoughts must be caught before they scatter the current. Careless words must be silenced before they undo the work of your declarations. Negative feelings must be soothed and redirected. This is not repression, it is mastery. You become the keeper of your inner alignment, not its victim. You guide your energy like a sculptor shaping marble. As the alignment grows stronger, you no longer question the timing of your manifestation. You know the signal has been sent clearly and completely. The universe responds to clarity like iron to a magnet. The waiting ceases to feel like waiting. It becomes quiet expectancy, the kind that knows the result is inevitable. The outer world must yield to the inner command that has been sent in harmony. When thought, word, and feeling move as one, doubt has no place to live. Contradiction has no soil to grow in. You walk with the steady confidence of someone whose vision is not in question. This alignment becomes a living force within you, a silent current that bends reality to match the inner image. You no longer chase, you no longer plead. You simply are, in harmony with what is already yours in the unseen. This is the hidden strength of alignment. It is not noisy, yet it is absolute. It does not rely on luck, yet it draws fortune with precision. It does not beg the universe to act, it speaks with the voice of one who knows the universe is already responding. Alignment is the secret behind every effortless manifestation, the invisible key that unlocks the visible result. When thought, word, and feeling speak in one voice, the unseen answers. It cannot do otherwise. To claim your good as already yours is to step out of the waiting room of life and take your rightful seat at the table of abundance. Most people ask, beg, and plead for what they desire, as though the universe is a reluctant giver. But the truth is that every good thing exists already in the unseen, waiting for recognition, not negotiation. When you claim your good, you are not trying to convince the universe to give it to you. You are simply accepting what has already been prepared. Claiming is ownership in the invisible, and ownership in the invisible precedes possession in the visible. This is the difference between hoping and knowing. Hoping keeps the desire at a distance. Knowing pulls it into the present. To say I will have is to live in tomorrow. To say I have is to bring tomorrow into today. When you claim, you move beyond the language of lack into the vibration of fulfillment. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to receive. You see yourself as one who has already received. The shift is subtle but mighty, for the universe responds not to longing but to certainty. To claim your good is to remove the gap between you and what you desire. It is to act, think, and feel as if the thing you seek is already part of your life. The mind does not know the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. The moment you claim, the unseen begins to adjust to match your inner state. Circumstances bend, timing aligns, opportunities surface, not because you are forcing the universe, but because you have accepted the reality of what is already yours. Many live in a perpetual state of waiting. They wait for a sign, for luck, for a perfect moment. But claiming requires no waiting. Claiming is a quiet, absolute decision. It is standing up within yourself and saying, "This is mine now." It is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is not demand, it is acceptance. What you claim in the unseen becomes your anchor, and the outer world has no choice but to follow. Claiming your good does not depend on evidence. Evidence arrives after the claim, not before it. If you wait for proof to believe, the claim is weak and easily shaken. But when you believe without proof, the claim becomes a law. The unseen begins to weave the outer pattern in response. Your claim is the stamp that seals the vision. It is the quiet authority that says, "This is done," even if nothing outside seems to have changed yet. To claim your good is to speak, move, and feel from the position of possession. When you claim, you no longer ask questions like when or how. Those questions belong to the uncertain. You declare with finality. You occupy the reality before it manifests. You walk as the owner, not the seeker. You are no longer outside looking in, you are inside, living the reality of your claim. The claim is made in the present moment. It cannot be postponed. You cannot claim tomorrow what must be claimed today. The unseen responds to now, not later. Each time you return to the vibration of already having, your claim strengthens. It becomes like a flag planted in the ground of the invisible, a marker that cannot be moved by doubt or delay. Claiming is not loud, but it is absolute. It does not need to convince, it does not need to prove. It simply is. It stands like a mountain, unaffected by appearances. Even if nothing seems to move on the outside, the claim remains unshaken. This is its power. The universe responds to unshakable claims because they carry the vibration of completion, not the vibration of need. Many speak of what they desire as if it is far away. They say someday, one day, if I'm lucky. These words keep the good suspended in the distance, always waiting, never arriving. But the one who claims says now. The one who claims understands that possession in the unseen is the beginning of possession in the seen. The world calls it faith, but it is more than faith. It is ownership. Ownership carries weight. To claim your good is to shift your identity. You no longer identify as someone chasing what you want, you identify as someone who already lives it. Your thoughts begin to reflect this new identity. Your words become statements of fact, not requests. Your feelings align with the joy of already having. This alignment creates a magnetic field that draws the visible into harmony with the invisible claim. When you claim something, you make it part of your self-concept, and the outer world can only mirror what is held in your concept of self. If you claim wealth, you begin to walk like one who has it. If you claim victory, you speak like one who has already won. If you claim abundance, you think and act from abundance. The unseen matches this inner state with outer evidence, not because you forced it, but because you owned it. Claiming is not the same as wishing. Wishing looks outward, claiming looks inward. Wishing waits, claiming accepts. Wishing is uncertain, claiming is final. When you claim, you no longer need to repeat desperate affirmations. You speak once with certainty and your actions follow that certainty. You do not chase the thing. You stand still in the knowledge that it is already yours. This is why claiming is so powerful. It bypasses doubt entirely. The claim must be felt as real. Words alone will not suffice. If you claim with your mouth but deny it in your heart, the claim is hollow. But when your feeling wraps around the claim like a seal, it becomes unbreakable. You live as though the unseen has already become the seen. That vibration is unmistakable to the universe. It commands response without force. Claiming your good is also an act of release. When you claim, you let go of striving. You stop trying to make it happen and allow it to unfold. Ownership does not beg. Ownership does not chase. Ownership stands. This standing is not passive, it is alive with quiet certainty. It is a posture that says, I already have it, and the world around you slowly rearranges itself to reflect that truth. This way of claiming is not bound by time. Time becomes a servant to the claim, not its master. Those who wait are subject to time. Those who claim make time bend to their vibration. Delays may appear, but they cannot deny what has already been claimed in the unseen. The claim is law, and law is unbothered by appearances. Every claim made with unwavering conviction carries its own gravity. It draws into orbit everything needed to make the unseen visible. This is why some people seem to move through life as if doors open effortlessly. They have claimed what they desire. They have owned it within themselves long before it showed up outside. The outer world simply follows their inner authority. Claiming your good is also an act of remembrance. You are not convincing the universe. You are remembering who you are and what is already yours in the infinite field of possibility. The universe is not withholding anything. It waits for your recognition. The claim is the recognition. It is the moment you say, I see it, I accept it, I take it now. This is the language the unseen understands. Not begging, not hoping, not waiting. Claiming, standing, owning. You move as if it is already done because in the unseen it is. The outer world has no power to deny what the inner world has already accepted. The claim becomes the foundation, the center of gravity, the quiet authority that bends reality without force or struggle. To claim your good as already yours is to end the separation between you and the thing desired. It is to stand not outside the gate but inside the palace. It is to declare, this belongs to me, and let the unseen do the arranging. The moment you claim, the vibration changes, and when the vibration changes, the outer must obey. What is claimed in the invisible becomes the invisible anchor that pulls the visible into place. Many will look at the outer evidence and say nothing has changed. But the one who has claimed knows the change happened the moment the claim was made. Everything after that is merely the unfolding of what is already secured. This is why claiming carries such quiet power. It does not fight. It does not plead. It simply stands as law. It is the still voice that moves mountains. The claim does not need to be repeated endlessly, because true ownership does not beg for proof. Once claimed, you move through your days with the steady knowing that what belongs to you cannot be denied. You stop living in lack and start living in possession. The outer world may take its time to adjust, but the claim is already settled. The unseen is already aligned. The rest is only the unfolding of what has already been declared as yours.
Not every force must be met with force. Picture a river meeting a rock. It doesn't strain or argue. It simply glides around and keeps on singing. That is the quiet genius of peace. We continue with the 4th chapter of Florence Scovel Shinn's The Game of Life and How to Play It. Each chapter here stands on its own, read fully and gently. Nothing to rush, nothing to force. And if you'd like a small way to live what you hear, a free 1-page companion guide waits below, ready whenever you are. Now, the central principle of this chapter comes into view. In plain words, resistance binds us to the thing we resist, while release restores our freedom. Let the reading begin. Resist not evil. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. Nothing on earth can resist an absolutely non-resistant person. The Chinese say that water is the most powerful element because it is perfectly non-resistant. It can wear away a rock and sweep all before it. Jesus Christ said, "Resist not evil," for he knew in reality there is no evil, therefore nothing to resist. Evil has come of man's vain imagination or a belief in two powers, good and evil. There is an old legend that Adam and Eve ate of Maya, the tree of illusion, and saw two powers instead of one power, God. Therefore, evil is a false law man has made for himself through psychoma or soul sleep. Soul sleep means that man's soul has been hypnotized by the race belief of sin, sickness, and death, etc., which is carnal or mortal thought, and his affairs have outpictured his illusions. We have read in a preceding chapter that man's soul is his subconscious mind, and whatever he feels deeply, good or bad, is outpictured by that faithful servant. His body and affairs show forth what he has been picturing. The sick man has pictured sickness, the poor man, poverty, the rich man, wealth. People often say, "Why does a little child attract illness when it is too young even to know what it means?" I answer that children are sensitive and receptive to the thoughts of others about them, and often outpicture the fears of their parents. I heard a metaphysician once say, "If you do not run your subconscious mind yourself, someone else will run it for you." Mothers often, unconsciously, attract illness and disaster to their children by continually holding them in thoughts of fear and watching for symptoms. For example, a friend asked a woman if her little girl had had the measles. She replied promptly, "Not yet." This implied that she was expecting the illness, and therefore preparing the way for what she did not want for herself and child. However, the man who is centered and established in right thinking, the man who sends out only goodwill to his fellow man, and who is without fear, cannot be touched or influenced by the negative thoughts of others. In fact, he could then receive only good thoughts, as he himself sends forth only thoughts. Resistance is hell, for it places man in a state of torment. A metaphysician once gave me a wonderful recipe for taking every trick in the game of life. It is the acme of non-resistance. He gave it in this way. At one time in my life, I baptized children, and of course, they had many names. Now I no longer baptize children, but I baptize events, but I give every event the same name. If I have a failure, I baptize it success, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. In this, we see the great law of transmutation, founded on non-resistance. Through his spoken word, every failure was transmuted into success. For example, a woman who required money and who knew the spiritual law of opulence was thrown in a business way continually with a man who made her feel very poor. He talked lack and limitation, and she commenced to catch his poverty thoughts, so she disliked him and blamed him for her failure. She knew in order to demonstrate her supply, she must first feel that she had received. A feeling of opulence must precede its manifestation. It dawned on her one day that she was resisting the situation and seeing two powers instead of one. So she blessed the man and baptized the situation success. She affirmed, "As there is only one power, God, this man is here for my good and my prosperity." Just what he did not seem to be there for. Soon after that, she met, through this man, a woman who gave her for a service rendered several $1,000s, and the man moved to a distant city and faded harmoniously from her life. Make the statement, "Every man is a golden link in the chain of my good, for all men are God in manifestation, awaiting the opportunity given by man himself to serve the divine plan of his life. Bless your enemy, and you rob him of his ammunition. His arrows will be transmuted into blessings. This law is true of nations as well as individuals. Bless a nation, send love and goodwill to every inhabitant, and it is robbed of its power to harm. Man can only get the right idea of non-resistance through spiritual understanding. My students have often said, "I don't want to be a doormat." I reply, when you use non-resistance with wisdom, no one will ever be able to walk over you. Another example. One day I was impatiently awaiting an important telephone call. I resisted every call that came in and made no outgoing calls myself, reasoning that it might interfere with the one I was awaiting. Instead of saying, "Divine ideas never conflict, the call will come at the right time," leaving it to infinite intelligence to arrange, I commenced to manage things myself. I made the battle mine, not God's, and remained tense and anxious. The bell did not ring for about an hour, and I glanced at the phone and found the receiver had been off that length of time and the phone was disconnected. My anxiety, fear, and belief in interference had brought on a total eclipse of the telephone. Realizing what I had done, I commenced blessing the situation at once. I baptized it success and affirmed, I cannot lose any call that belongs to me by divine right. I am under grace and not under law. A friend rushed out to the nearest telephone to notify the company to reconnect. She entered a crowded grocery, but the proprietor left his customers and attended to the call himself. My phone was connected at once, and 2 minutes later, I received a very important call, and about an hour afterwards, the one I had been awaiting. Once ships come in over a calm sea, so long as man resists a situation, he will have it with him. If he runs away from it, it will run after him. For example, I repeated this to a woman one day, and she replied, "How true that is. I was unhappy at home. I disliked my mother, who was critical and domineering, so I ran away and was married. But I married my mother, for my husband was exactly like my mother, and I had the same situation to face again. Agree with thine adversary quickly. This means agree that the adverse situation is good, be undisturbed by it, and it falls away of its own weight. None of these things move me is a wonderful affirmation. The inharmonious situation comes from some inharmony within man himself. When there is, in him, no emotional response to an inharmonious situation, it fades away forever from his pathway. So we see man's work is ever with himself. People have said to me, give treatments to change my husband or my brother. I reply, no, I will give treatments to change you. When you change, your husband and your brother will change. One of my students was in the habit of lying. I told her it was a failure method, and if she lied, she would be lied to. She replied, I don't care, I can't possibly get along without lying. One day she was speaking on the phone to a man with whom she was very much in love. She turned to me and said, I don't trust him. I know he's lying to me. I replied, well, you lie yourself, so someone has to lie to you, and you may be sure it will be just the person you want the truth from. Sometime after that, I saw her, and she said, I'm cured of lying. I questioned, what cured you? She replied, I have been living with a woman who lied worse than I did. One is often cured of his faults by seeing them in others. Life is a mirror, and we find only ourselves reflected in our associates. Living in the past is a failure method and a violation of spiritual law. Jesus Christ said, behold, now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation. Lot's wife looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. The robbers of time are the past and the future. Man should bless the past and forget it if it keeps him in bondage, and bless the future, knowing it has in store for him endless joys, but live fully in the now. For example, a woman came to me, complaining that she had no money with which to buy Christmas gifts. She said, last year was so different. I had plenty of money and gave lovely presents, and this year I have scarcely a cent. I replied, you will never demonstrate money while you are pathetic and live in the past. Live fully in the now and get ready to give Christmas presents. Dig your ditches and the money will come. She exclaimed, I know what to do. I will buy some tinsel twine, Christmas seals, and wrapping paper. I replied, do that, and the presents will come and stick themselves to the Christmas seals. This, too, was showing financial fearlessness and faith in God, as the reasoning mind said, keep every cent you have, as you are not sure you will get any more. She bought the seals, paper, and twine, and a few days before Christmas, received a gift of several $100s. Buying the seals and twine had impressed the subconscious with expectancy and opened the way for the manifestation of the money. She purchased all the presents in plenty of time. Man must live suspended in the moment. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation of the dawn. He must be spiritually alert ever awaiting his leads, taking advantage of every opportunity. One day I said continually, silently, "Infinite Spirit, don't let me miss a trick." And something very important was told to me that evening. It is most necessary to begin the day with right words. Make an affirmation immediately upon waking. For example, "Thy will be done this day. Today is a day of completion. I give thanks for this perfect day. Miracle shall follow miracle, and wonders shall never cease." Make this a habit, and one will see wonders and miracles come into his life. One morning I picked up a book and read, "Look with wonder at that which is before you." It seemed to be my message for the day, so I repeated again and again, "Look with wonder at that which is before you." At about noon, a large sum of money was given me, which I had been desiring for a certain purpose. In a following chapter, I will give affirmations that I have found most effective. However, one should never use an affirmation unless it is absolutely satisfying and convincing to his own consciousness, and often an affirmative is changed to suit different people. For example, the following has brought success to many. "I have a wonderful work, in a wonderful way. I give wonderful service for wonderful pay." I gave the first 2 lines to one of my students, and she added the last 2. It made a most powerful statement, as there should always be perfect payment for perfect service, and a rhyme sinks easily into the subconscious. She went about singing it aloud, and soon did receive wonderful work in a wonderful way, and gave wonderful service for wonderful pay. Another student, a businessman, took it and changed the word work to business. He repeated, "I have a wonderful business in a wonderful way, and I give wonderful service for wonderful pay." That afternoon, he made a $41,000 deal, though there had been no activity in his affairs for months. Every affirmation must be carefully worded and completely cover the ground. For example, I knew a woman who was in great need and made a demand for work. She received a great deal of work, but was never paid anything. She now knows to add, "Wonderful service for wonderful pay." It is man's divine right to have plenty, more than enough. His barns should be full and his cup should flow over. This is God's idea for man, and when man breaks down the barriers of lack in his own consciousness, the golden age will be his, and every righteous desire of his heart fulfilled. The teaching of this chapter has now been revealed. Simply choosing to soften where life once felt hard is already powerful practice. Let the words settle. When you wish to explore them more deeply, one simple guide rests below. May you flow with what is, trusting that peace will always find a way through.